Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, we embark on a journey far beyond familiar pages of history or the quiet corners of your local library. We are about to explore a world that has whispered across millennia, a world filled with mysteries, celestial beings, and stories that most have long forgotten. There exists a text, ancient and enigmatic, known as the Book of Enoch. Its origins stretch back thousands of years, and yet its secrets still echo in the silent chambers of the mind. As you settle into your space, let your body relax, your breathing slow, and your thoughts drift gently, for we are not in a rush. This is a journey meant to soothe, to engage, and to guide you softly into the deeper recesses of human imagination and divine storytelling. The Book of Enoch is not like the stories you may have read before. It is a tapestry of visions, warnings, and heavenly journeys, a collection of tales that blend the earthly and celestial with remarkable intricacy. Unlike the texts that dominate most religious traditions, Enoch's writings often sit in quiet corners, overlooked, yet pulsating with meaning for those who take the time to listen. It tells of angels who walked among humans, of beings that defied divine law, and of the consequences that ripple through both the heavens and the earth. Imagine, for a moment, a sky so vast it seems endless, and beneath it, stories unfolding like slow-moving clouds, each one holding knowledge both ancient and eternal. As we begin, picture yourself gently lying down, perhaps in the soft warmth of a bedroom or the cozy quiet of a late evening. Let the world around you fade, and allow yourself to enter this story not as a student seeking facts, but as a traveler stepping into a dream. The Book of Enoch is a guide through a landscape where morality and wonder intertwine, where every tale, every vision, is a gentle ripple across time. It whispers lessons about curiosity, about the boundaries of knowledge, and about the delicate balance between order and chaos. And yet, it does so without urgency, without pressure, encouraging you to wander slowly through its pages, as though you are walking through a garden of ancient, unseen flowers, each blooming with secrets. The origins of this book are as fascinating as its contents. Scholars trace parts of it back to the 2nd century before the Common Era, a time when humanity sought meaning in the stars and in dreams. In those days, knowledge was both treasured and feared. People looked up at the night sky and wondered what lay beyond, imagining realms filled with angels, giants, and the hidden truths of the cosmos. It was a time when stories were not just entertainment. They were vessels of guidance, warnings, and reflection. The Book of Enoch captures that spirit beautifully, blending myth, prophecy, and spiritual insight into a single, flowing narrative that has endured despite centuries of obscurity. And yet, the Book of Enoch is not merely a historical curiosity. It speaks to something timeless within the human heart, the desire to understand the unknown, the yearning to see beyond the visible, to touch the intangible. Its angels are not just celestial beings. They are mirrors of human aspirations, mistakes, and potential. Its visions are not simply fantastical tales. They are reflections on morality, consequence, and the eternal rhythms of a universe. Listening to its stories is like standing at the edge of a still lake at night, seeing the reflection of countless stars above and wondering about the world beyond what can be seen or touched. Tonight, as we move through the Book of Enoch, we will allow ourselves to drift slowly into its universe. We will meet the Watchers, the angels who descended to the earth, and we will see the consequences of their choices. We will follow Enoch himself, a human chosen to walk between worlds, to witness both heaven and earth, and to carry messages that are both profound and haunting. And through it all, we will maintain a calm, gentle pace, letting each word and each image settle like soft snow upon the mind. There is no need to hurry. There is no need to question. Simply let the story unfold, letting its rhythm guide your thoughts into a quiet, contemplative space. So, close your eyes if you wish, or let them wander lazily as you listen. Allow the soft currents of history, mythology, and imagination to carry you gently forward. The Book of Enoch is not only a story of angels, giants, and ancient secrets. It is a story meant to lull the mind, to encourage reflection, and to transport you into a world where time feels slower, where mysteries unfold with patience, and where every revelation is a gentle step into wonder. Tonight, we begin this journey together, slowly, softly, and with an open heart, ready to discover the secrets that have whispered across the ages, patiently waiting for someone to listen. The Book of Enoch, sometimes called 1 Enoch, is a text unlike many others you may have encountered. It is a work that straddles a line between history and legend, between the earthly and the divine. Its pages carry stories of angels and humans, visions and dreams, woven together in a way that makes the reader, or listener, feel as though they are stepping into a world both ancient and mysterious. Though it was once widely read and revered in some Jewish communities, it gradually fell into obscurity, overlooked by most of the major religious traditions. Yet, despite its marginalization, the Book of Enoch has survived the passing of centuries, its secret preserved in fragments, manuscripts, and translations, waiting patiently for those who wish to explore its depths. Tonight, we will gently uncover these secrets, moving slowly through each tale, each vision, as though walking through a quiet, candlelit corridor of history itself. At first glance, the Book of Enoch may appear complex, even confusing. Its style is different from the familiar narratives of history or scripture. It speaks in visions and symbolic language, weaving together prophecy, morality, and cosmic order into a single, flowing story. It tells of the Watchers, angels sent to watch over humanity, who became fascinated by the world below and eventually transgressed the boundaries set for them. It tells of giants born from their unions with human women, creatures so vast and mysterious that their presence shakes the earth itself. It offers glimpses into the workings of the heavens, the movement of stars, and the rhythm of time as understood by ancient scholars. And it presents Enoch, a human being unlike any other, chosen to witness these wonders, to walk through realms that ordinary mortals can scarcely imagine. Each element is a piece of a larger puzzle, and each piece is designed to invite reflection, curiosity, and, if approached with calm, a sense of wonder that lulls the mind. It is important to remember that the Book of Enoch is not part of the canonical Bible for most traditions. While some early Christian communities and certain Ethiopian traditions accepted it as sacred, it was largely excluded from mainstream Jewish and Christian scripture. And yet, even outside of formal religious authority, its influence is undeniable. Scholars note its impact on angelology, apocalyptic literature, and the development of ideas about divine justice and cosmic order. Its stories resonate with archetypes that appear in other texts, reminding us that even a forgotten or obscure work can ripple across history in subtle, profound ways. Listening to these stories now, in the calm of your evening, we can appreciate them not as dogma or doctrine, but as reflections of human imagination and spiritual exploration gently preserved across time. The language of the Book of Enoch itself is rich with imagery. It speaks of heavens with multiple layers, gates guarded by angels, and cosmic journeys that take Enoch far beyond the realm of human experience. The stories it tells are not merely entertainment. They are guides for understanding morality, divine law, and the consequences of curiosity and tempered by wisdom. Yet, despite the gravity of these themes, the text has a serene, contemplative quality. Reading, or listening, to it slowly, allowing the word to settle, feels like tracing the paths of stars across a night sky, each one a quiet beacon of knowledge, mystery, and reflection. It encourages patience, invites meditation, and rewards those who take the time to absorb its gentle lessons. Another remarkable aspect of the Book of Enoch is its combination of narrative styles. Some parts read like epic poetry, others like historical record, while still others unfold as symbolic visions. This blending gives the text a dreamlike quality, as if the reader is not just observing events but floating alongside them, experiencing the story as it unfolds. Angels move through human history, giants stride across the land, and Enoch himself travels between worlds. Time stretches and bends, the boundaries between the earthly and the divine blur, and the listener is invited to follow, slowly and safely, through this vast, imaginative landscape. Each passage is a meditation, a soft invitation to ponder the mysteries of existence while feeling grounded in the present moment, safe and calm. As we explore the Book of Enoch, it is helpful to approach it with both curiosity and relaxation. We are not seeking to memorize facts or debate interpretations. Instead, we are allowing ourselves to be gently guided through a world where every story, every vision, carries echoes of the eternal. We can imagine the Watchers descending silently, the giants roaming quietly through misty valleys, and Enoch himself ascending calmly through the heavens, observing, recording, reflecting. There is a rhythm to these tales, a cadence that soothes and intrigues simultaneously, and that is precisely what makes the Book of Enoch such a fitting companion for bedtime storytelling. Tonight, as you listen, let your mind drift with the unfolding of the text. Picture the ancient land where these events were said to occur, valleys shrouded in mist, skies filled with moving stars, and the quiet presence of beings both human and divine. Let the voices of the past speak softly to you, guiding your thoughts into reflection, wonder, and calm. The Book of Enoch is more than a story. It is a journey through time, a bridge between worlds, and a meditation on the vastness of existence. And as we continue, you may find that the gentle rhythm of its tales is not only absorbing but deeply relaxing, preparing the mind for rest while offering glimpses into a universe rich with mystery, morality, and celestial beauty. To truly understand the Book of Enoch, it helps to step back and imagine the world into which it was born. We must travel, in thought, to a time more than 2,000 years ago, to an era when human understanding of the cosmos was still intertwined with myth, spirituality, and observation. This was a world where the boundaries between heaven and earth felt fluid, where the stars and planets were not merely distant lights, but signs, messages, and guides. Societies were deeply connected to nature, to cycles of the sun and moon, and to the quiet rhythms of the seasons. Knowledge was a treasure, sometimes dangerous, often revered, and it was in this setting that the Book of Enoch emerged, a text that combined observation, imagination, and divine inspiration into stories that would quietly endure across the centuries. The 2nd century before the Common Era was a period of both uncertainty and wonder. Empires were rising and falling, cities were centers of trade and thought, and people were questioning not only the world around them but the nature of the heavens themselves. Jewish communities of the time were particularly focused on morality, law, and prophecy. They sought to understand their place in the universe and to discern the messages of God in both the mundane and the extraordinary. Into this world, the Book of Enoch arrived, offering visions that were as expansive as a night sky. It told of angels, not just as distant servants of God, but as beings who could interact with humans, teach them, and, at times, transgress the divine order. These narratives created a bridge between the earthly and the celestial, between the known and the mysterious, inviting readers and listeners to ponder both the beauty and the danger of knowledge. The environment in which this text was written was one where oral storytelling still held immense power. Stories were passed down from teacher to student, parent to child, often over the flickering light of fire or in the quiet of communal gatherings. Each retelling allowed for reflection, interpretation, and subtle variations that added layers to the original tale. By the time the Book of Enoch was committed to writing, these stories had already been refined through countless generations of storytellers. The written text preserved them, yes, but it also served as a kind of vessel, capturing the rhythms of speech, the cadences of ancient voices, and the gentle suspense that makes myth so compelling. Listening to these stories now, we are, in a sense, hearing the echoes of those long-ago storytellers, their voices soft, patient, and carefully measured, guiding us slowly through realms of mystery. Human curiosity plays a central role in this history. Even in an age without telescopes or scientific instruments, people sought to understand the universe. They observed the stars, the cycles of the moon, and the patterns of seasons. They asked questions. Why do stars move as they do? What is the significance of comets, eclipses, or sudden storms? In many ways, the Book of Enoch is a reflection of that curiosity, a meditation on human desire to grasp the unknown. The Watchers, the angels who descend to earth, embody this very longing, to explore, to learn, to interact with a world beyond their ordained roles. Yet the text also gently warns of the consequences of unchecked curiosity. Knowledge without wisdom can be as disruptive as it is enlightening, and this tension between understanding and restraint forms one of the quiet undercurrents of the narrative. It is also important to consider the spiritual and philosophical mindset of the time. People saw the universe as laid, a series of realms both visible and invisible. Heaven and earth were not distant or separate. They were connected through the actions of divine beings and through the moral choices of humans. The Book of Enoch reflects this worldview beautifully. Its stories do not simply describe events. They describe relationships, cause and effect, and the delicate balance of cosmic order. The punishment of angels, the rise of giants, and the journeys of Enoch himself are all presented not as distant legend, but as integral threads in the tapestry of existence. Every story, every vision, serves as a quiet reminder that actions, whether human or divine, resonate far beyond the moment. In this historical context, the Book of Enoch also reflects a blending of cultures and ideas. Trade routes carried more than goods. They carried knowledge, philosophy, and myths from distant lands. Ancient communities encountered other civilizations, exchanging stories, beliefs, and interpretations of the divine. The text is infused with this rich tapestry of influences, merging local traditions with broader cosmological concepts. Listening carefully, one can sense echoes of older myths alongside new interpretations, a delicate weaving that invites reflection, as though the listener is gently tracing the threads of history itself, feeling the texture of thought across time. As we drift through this context, it becomes clear that the Book of Enoch was not merely a record of events or collection of lessons. It was a guide for meditation, reflection, and contemplation. The descriptions of angels, the cosmic journeys, and the visions of future judgment all serve a dual purpose: to teach and to soothe. The text encourages a reader, or listener, to pause, to imagine, to consider their own place within the vastness of existence. And in this way, it aligns perfectly with the storytelling style we embrace tonight: slow, immersive, and gentle, allowing history and myth to blend into a soft, reflective journey. So as you listen, imagine yourself stepping into that ancient world. Picture communities gathered quietly under the night sky, listening to stories of angels and giants, of divine mysteries and cosmic patterns. Imagine the gentle flicker of lamps, the soft murmur of voices, and the feeling that you are participating in a tradition that stretches across millennia. Every vision, every tale, is not only a window into the past, but also a mirror for our own curiosity, our own sense of wonder. And as we continue, we will walk more deeply into these stories, exploring the structure of the Book of Enoch, its characters, and its timeless lessons, all while maintaining the calm, serene pace that guides both mind and body toward quiet reflection. The Book of Enoch is a text of many layers, and before we can fully immerse ourselves in its stories and visions, it helps to understand its overall structure. Unlike a simple narrative with a clear beginning, middle, and end, the Book of Enoch is composed of multiple sections, each with its own focus, style, and rhythm. Together, these sections form a vast and intricate tapestry, weaving together history, myth, prophecy, and cosmic reflection. In approaching this structure, it is useful to think of the book as a journey, one that moves from the terrestrial to the celestial, from the familiar to the mysterious, guiding the listener slowly through realms both earthly and divine. The first of these sections is known as the Book of the Watchers. This portion tells the story of angels who were sent to watch over humanity. In their descent, they became fascinated by the world below, captivated by the beauty, curiosity, and fragility of humans. It is here that the narrative begins to explore themes of desire, transgression, and consequence. The Watchers taught humanity various forms of knowledge, some practical, like metalworking, and others more mystical, like astrology and incantations. In the calm rhythm of bedtime storytelling, we can imagine these events as gentle ripples across the earth, their consequences gradually unfolding, echoing both in the heavens and on the ground. The Book of the Watchers sets the stage for the cosmic balance explored in the rest of the text, gently preparing the listener for the journey that lies ahead. Next comes the Book of Parables, sometimes referred to as the Similitudes. This section is a collection of visionary tales and parables, many of which focus on the figure of the Son of Man, a mysterious and exalted being. Unlike the historical or narrative portions of the text, the parables invite reflection on justice, morality, and divine order. The stories are rich with imagery and symbolism, designed to stimulate thought and contemplation. In a slow, meditative storytelling style, the parables are best approached as if watching clouds shift across the sky, each vision revealing glimpses of a larger pattern, gentle yet profound, encouraging the mind to wonder and absorb meaning without urgency. Following the parables is the astronomical book, a section dedicated to the cycles of the heavens. Here, the text shifts from narrative storytelling to cosmic observation. It describes the movement of the sun, moon, and stars, as well as the divisions of the calendar. At first, these descriptions may seem technical, but they are presented in a manner that emphasizes harmony, rhythm, and balance. For a listener, this section can be imagined as a slow, hypnotic drift through the night sky, each celestial body moving in precise, elegant patterns. The astronomical book reminds us that the cosmos itself is a part of the story, and that understanding the order of the heavens offers insight into the order of all things. The dream visions form the next section, where Enoch recounts his symbolic dreams. These visions often depict historical and apocalyptic events, wrapped in allegory and imagery. Giants roamed the land, Divine beings act with subtle intent, and human actions are observed with both compassion and judgment. In the calm, immersive style we embrace tonight, these dreams can be imagined as slow-moving tapestries of color and form, each scene revealing hidden truths without the urgency of action or danger. They serve as a bridge between human understanding and divine revelation, encouraging the listener to ponder gently the interconnectedness of all events, both earthly and cosmic. Finally, there is the Epistle of Enoch, a reflective and didactic section. Here, Enoch delivers wisdom, warnings, and ethical guidance to humanity. The language is often calm and instructive, inviting the reader, or listener, to absorb its lessons at a leisurely pace. Themes of morality, justice, and the consequences of choices are explored, but always in a measured, contemplative manner. In bedtime storytelling, this section functions like a gentle guiding hand, helping to close the circle of the narrative by connecting the cosmic visions and angelic tales back to human experience. It emphasizes reflection and meditation, encouraging the listener to internalize the quiet lessons of the book before drifting into rest. Understanding this structure is crucial, not only for appreciating the Book of Enoch itself, but also for navigating the journey we are about to take together. Each section is like a room in an ancient mansion, with its own light, mood, and decoration. As we move from one room to the next, we are guided not by urgency, but by curiosity and calm observation. The narrative flows seamlessly from the stories of angels to the cosmic patterns of the heavens, from visions of giants to reflective parables, ensuring that the mind remains engaged but never strained. This balance between engagement and relaxation is what makes the Book of Enoch particularly suited to bedtime storytelling. Moreover, the diversity of its sections allows the text to touch on multiple aspects of human experience. It addresses curiosity and knowledge, desire and consequence, morality and cosmic order, all while maintaining a serene, reflective tone. The listener is not merely a passive observer, but an active participant in a meditative experience. The structure encourages gentle immersion, allowing each theme, vision, and lesson to be absorbed fully before moving on to the next. It is a careful orchestration of pace, imagery, and rhythm, designed to foster reflection, relaxation, and a sense of wonder. As we prepare to explore the stories within each of these sections, it helps to carry this understanding in mind. The Book of Enoch is not a linear tale, but a layered experience. By appreciating its structure, we can move through it with ease, allowing each story and vision to unfold at its own gentle pace. Tonight, we will begin this journey slowly, first meeting the Watchers and observing the delicate interplay between angels and humanity. From there, we will move to visions of cosmic order, symbolic dreams, and finally, reflective wisdom. And through it all, the calm rhythm of the narrative will guide your mind and body, creating a gentle current that carries you deeper into both the story and a state of relaxation, ready to embrace the mysteries that await. The story of the Watchers is one of the most captivating and mysterious parts of the Book of Enoch. To begin, imagine a time before humans fully understood the cosmos, when the sky was not just a backdrop but a place teeming with presence and purpose. It was here, in the realms above, that the Watchers resided, angels sent from the heavens to observe and guide humanity. Their task was simple in theory: watch over humans, learn from them, and report back to the divine. Yet, as the story unfolds, we discover that even beings as powerful and seemingly incorruptible as angels can be drawn into curiosity, fascination, and ultimately transgression. And so, the descent to earth begins, not with violence or malice, but with wonder, fascination, and a quiet desire to experience the world below. The Watchers, sometimes called Grigori, were celestial beings whose understanding far exceeded that of ordinary humans. Yet, they looked upon humanity with interest, perhaps even admiration, and were intrigued by our creativity, our struggles, and our very mortality. In their eyes, humans were fragile yet endlessly inventive, capable of both great beauty and grave error. It is a story that gently reminds us of a universal truth. The allure of the unknown, the temptation to step beyond one's appointed boundaries, is not limited to humans. Even angels, beings of light and purpose, are drawn to explore what they should perhaps leave untouched. The calm and reflective tone of the Book of Enoch allows us to consider this not as a tale of punishment, but as an exploration of curiosity and the consequences that follow naturally from desire. The angels' fascination led them to descend from the heavens to the earth in subtle, quiet ways. They came to witness human life firsthand, walking among people as observers and, at times, as teachers. Their presence was gentle, often unnoticed, like shadows passing under the moonlight. They shared knowledge, both practical and arcane, teaching human skills that would change the course of civilization. Metalworking, the use of precious stones, magical incantations, and the study of the stars were among the gifts they bestowed. It is easy, in the calm rhythm of this storytelling, to imagine these lessons unfolding slowly, softly, as though the world itself is listening, absorbing knowledge that is both wondrous and dangerous. Yet, as with all stories of forbidden wisdom, there is a tension between curiosity and consequence. The Watchers' descent was not without repercussions. By sharing these gifts, they disrupted the natural order, blending the mortal and divine in ways that were not intended. Giants, the Nephilim, were born of the union between these angels and human women, creatures of immense strength and size, whose presence began to shift the balance of life on earth. Imagine, for a moment, gentle valleys suddenly filled with towering beings, silent forests echoing with their footsteps. In the calm, immersive tone we are embracing, these images are not frightening, but awe-inspiring, inviting reflection on the interplay of power, curiosity, and consequence. The Book of Enoch allows us to observe these events as though from a distance, appreciating their magnitude without fear, contemplating the rhythms of cause and effect across both heaven and earth. The story of the Watchers also carries subtle moral undertones. The angels were drawn by desire, yet their actions remind us that all knowledge comes with responsibility. The gifts they shared were not inherently bad, but they became dangerous when applied without wisdom. This is a gentle lesson, whispered across time, that understanding and power must always be tempered by reflection and humility. As listeners, we can imagine the quiet consequences of their choices, like ripples spreading across a still pond, touching everything in their path. The narrative's calm rhythm allows the mind to wander through these reflections, considering not only the actions of celestial beings, but also our own lives, our choices, and the ways in which curiosity and desire shape our world. Enoch, the human protagonist, enters this portion of the story as a mediator and observer. He is chosen to witness these events, to walk between worlds, and to record what he sees. In the gentle cadence of bedtime storytelling, we can picture him moving silently among both angels and humans, noting their actions, contemplating their motives, and reflecting on the delicate balance of the cosmos. His presence reminds us that even in the midst of extraordinary events, the human perspective is invaluable. Through his eyes, we perceive both the wonder and the caution embedded in the Watcher's tale, understanding the intricate interplay between divine beings and mortal existence. The descent of the Watchers also introduces an element of suspense, not the kind that raises a heart, but the kind that gently engages curiosity. How will the heavens respond? What will become of these forbidden unions and the knowledge imparted to humans? The Book of Enoch allows us to linger in the suspended space, exploring each moment slowly, letting the narrative unfold with deliberate pacing. The angels' fascination, their choices, and the consequences all move like a slow current, carrying the listener along without urgency, inviting contemplation, and encouraging a gentle awareness of cosmic order. In reflecting on the Watchers, one also senses a profound empathy woven into the text. The angels are not portrayed merely as transgressors or villains. They are complex, drawn to explore, to experience, and to teach. Their story resonates because it mirrors human tendencies, our own desires to understand, to create, and sometimes to overreach. In this way, the tale feels intimate, even personal, allowing the listener to connect with events that occurred in realms far beyond ordinary human experience. It is a calm meditation on curiosity, the blending of worlds, and the responsibilities that accompany knowledge and power. Finally, as we linger on this portion of the book, it becomes clear that the Watcher's story is both a beginning and an invitation. It sets the stage for all that follows, the Nephilim, the cosmic order, and Enoch's journeys through heaven and earth. It encourages the listener to proceed slowly, absorbing each detail, savoring the rhythm of the narrative, and reflecting on the larger patterns of history, morality, and celestial mystery. Through this measured storytelling, the Watchers are not simply characters in an ancient text. They are guides to understanding the delicate balance between wonder and wisdom, between the human and the divine, and between curiosity and restraint. As you imagine these events, Let your mind drift gently among the scenes of angels descending silently under the twilight sky, of humans learning skills both marvelous and perilous, and of the quiet unfolding of consequence that follows each action. The story of the Watchers is both vast and intimate, cosmic and reflective. It invites you to pause, to breathe, and to allow the narrative's calm rhythm to settle within you, carrying both thought and imagination into a state of quiet contemplation, preparing the mind for the deeper mysteries that await in the sections to come. The Nephilim, the offspring of the Watchers and human women, are among the most mysterious and awe-inspiring figures in the Book of Enoch. To imagine them, one must picture a world where the boundaries between the human and the divine are blurred, where beings of immense size and strength move through landscapes familiar yet transformed. The very word Nephilim carries a weight of wonder and subtle fear, echoing across centuries as a reminder of the consequences of crossing natural and divine boundaries. Yet, in the calm rhythm of storytelling we embrace tonight, these giants are not terrifying. They are majestic, enigmatic, and deeply symbolic, inviting reflection on human desire, power, and the fragile balance between worlds. The Book of Enoch describes the Nephilim as beings of extraordinary size and power, whose presence on earth shifts the natural order. Imagine quiet valleys suddenly filled with shadows taller than the tallest trees, fields trembling under the soft echo of immense footsteps, and rivers flowing around creatures larger than anything humans had seen. In this bedtime-style narrative, these images do not startle or frighten, but inspire awe. They are a gentle reminder that the world is filled with forces beyond human comprehension, forces that are both beautiful and disruptive. The Nephilim embody the blending of human curiosity and divine intervention, illustrating how fascination with the unknown can manifest in tangible, profound ways. Though their size and power are remarkable, the Nephilim are also symbolic. They represent the consequences of knowledge and desire and tempered by wisdom. The Watchers, in sharing their knowledge and engaging with humans, set into motion a series of events that produce these giants. Their existence reminds us that actions, whether human or divine, have repercussions. Even seemingly small choices can ripple outward, touching lives and shaping worlds in unexpected ways. The gentle narrative style of the Book of Enoch allows us to reflect on these lessons slowly, absorbing the subtle moral undertones without urgency or alarm. It encourages contemplation, like watching sunlight slowly spread across a quiet meadow, revealing new details with patient observation. The giants themselves are not portrayed merely as destructive forces. The text often emphasizes their fascination with the world, their curiosity, and their engagement with human society. They interact with humans, observe their customs, and even inspire or fear in those who encounter them. In the soft cadence of this storytelling, we can imagine the Nephilim moving quietly through misty landscapes, their presence both powerful and serene, a natural extension of the blending between the earthly and the divine. They are a bridge between worlds, embodying the consequences of divine interaction while remaining deeply connected to the human experience. The story of the Nephilim also invites reflection on human ambition and the pursuit of knowledge. Just as the Watchers were drawn to explore and understand the human world, humans themselves are drawn to explore, create, and seek power beyond their ordinary limits. The giants serve as a mirror, reflecting both the potential and the risks inherent in this pursuit. They are a reminder that with strength and knowledge comes responsibility, and that the world is a delicate balance of forces that must be respected. In the calm, immersive tone we are following, this lesson unfolds slowly, allowing the mind to absorb it gently, as one might listen to a distant river flowing softly through a valley. The Nephilim's presence also brings a quiet tension to the narrative. Their existence challenges the established order, creating disruptions that ripple through human society and the natural world. Yet, in this calm storytelling, these disruptions are not chaotic or alarming. They are measured, reflective, and symbolic. Each event, each action of the giants, illustrates the consequences of boundary crossing, of curiosity pursued without caution, and a desire that exceeds limitation. The text invites the listener to observe, to reflect, and to understand that even extraordinary beings are subject to the larger rhythms of the cosmos, just as humans are. Enoch himself continues to play a central role in this section. As a witness to the Nephilim, he observes not only their actions but also the moral and cosmic implications of their existence. He records what he sees, reflects on the consequences, and serves as a bridge between the human and divine realms. In the soothing cadence of bedtime storytelling, We can imagine following Enoch silently through landscapes where giants roam, observing the quiet ripple of their presence, and noting the subtle ways in which the world is altered by these beings. His perspective allows the listener to engage with the story contemplatively, without fear, while understanding the profound lessons embedded within the narrative. The text also suggests that the Nephilim were a source of both inspiration and disruption to humans. Their extraordinary abilities fascinated those around them, while their size and power reminded humans of the vastness of forces beyond comprehension. In this way, they function as a symbol of duality, both magnificent and dangerous, both awe-inspiring and humbling. The calm, immersive storytelling approach emphasizes this duality without creating anxiety, allowing the mind to float gently through the landscape of imagination, contemplating the presence of these giants as part of a larger cosmic rhythm. Finally, the story of the Nephilim sets the stage for the themes that will continue throughout the Book of Enoch: the balance of curiosity and consequence, the interaction of human and divine, and the careful observation of cosmic order. By reflecting on the Nephilim, we are invited to consider our own desires, our own pursuit of knowledge, and the ways in which our actions ripple outward, touching the lives of others and the world around us. In the quiet cadence of this narrative, we are encouraged to meditate on these ideas slowly, letting the images and lessons settle into the mind like soft, falling snow, preparing us for the deeper mysteries and angelic journeys that lie ahead. As you imagine the Nephilim roaming through ancient valleys, observe the subtle interplay of strength and curiosity, wonder and consequence. Picture the giants as majestic figures moving gracefully through a world that is both familiar and fantastical. Their story is a gentle exploration of the consequences of desire, the blending of realms, and the rhythms of cosmic balance. And as we allow this vision to settle, we are ready to continue into the next section, exploring the forbidden knowledge the Watchers shared with humanity and the quiet but profound effects it had on the world below. The knowledge that the Watchers shared with humanity is one of the most fascinating and thought-provoking aspects of the Book of Enoch. It is a tale that illustrates both the beauty of discovery and the subtle dangers of curiosity and tempered by wisdom. Imagine a world where humans live closely with nature, observing the stars, the cycles of the seasons, and the rhythms of life. In such a world, knowledge was precious, sacred, and powerful. The arrival of the Watchers introduced new possibilities, new skills, and insights that humans had never imagined. They taught craftsmanship, the secrets of metals, the uses of precious stones, and even forms of magic and divination. In the soft cadence of bedtime storytelling, we can picture these lessons unfolding slowly, like the quiet illumination of dawn across a misty valley, each revelation both beautiful and profound. The gifts that the Watchers bestowed were transformative. Metalworking allowed humans to shape their environment in ways previously impossible, creating tools, weapons, and structures that could endure. Astronomy and astrology offered glimpses into the movement of the heavens, allowing humans to predict seasons, observe celestial patterns, and understand time on a larger scale. Incantations and mystical knowledge opened doors to realms beyond ordinary perception, offering insight into hidden forces. All of these gifts were double-edged, as is often the case with great knowledge. They could bring prosperity, creativity, and understanding, but when applied without caution, they carry the potential for disruption and imbalance. The Book of Enoch presents this duality gently, encouraging reflection rather than fear, allowing the listener to absorb the lessons at a meditative pace. In considering this forbidden knowledge, it is important to reflect on human fascination with the unknown. Just as the Watchers were drawn to the human world, humans themselves are drawn to exploration, experimentation, and learning. Knowledge is inherently enticing. It invites curiosity and inspires imagination. Yet, the Book of Enoch reminds us that every gift, every insight, comes with responsibility. When the angels taught humans these arts, they were not merely sharing skills. They were revealing tools that could reshape the world. And just as the giants, the Nephilim, embodied the unintended consequences of angelic human interaction, so too did the knowledge itself carry ripple effects that would echo through generations. In the calm rhythm of storytelling, we can imagine these lessons settling quietly into the minds of early humans, guiding their choices, for better or worse. The transmission of this knowledge also introduces the concept of moral consequence. The Watchers were not malevolent, but their actions challenged the divine order. In a serene, contemplative tone, the narrative presents these events as a meditation on cause and effect. The angel fascination led them to share knowledge. The Nephilim were born, and humanity began to experience both the gifts and the disruptions introduced by these celestial interactions. Knowledge, while illuminating, is not neutral. It changes the world in subtle and profound ways. By reflecting on this slowly, without alarm, the listener can appreciate the wisdom embedded in the story, understanding that every choice carries both potential and risk. It is also fascinating to consider the types of knowledge imparted by the Watchers. Each skill or insight corresponds to an aspect of human development, both practical and spiritual. Metalworking and construction represent humanity's ability to manipulate the material world, shaping landscapes and tools in ways previously unimaginable. Astrology and the study of celestial patterns symbolize a desire to understand time, fate, and the larger rhythms of existence. Incantations and mystical arts illustrate the human impulse to reach beyond the tangible, to seek connection with forces unseen and subtle. In the gentle cadence of bedtime storytelling, each of these forms of knowledge can be imagined as a delicate light illuminating the path of humanity, revealing both opportunity and caution. The consequences of these teachings are seen not only in human achievement but also in disruption. The giants, the Nephilim, are the most tangible expression of imbalance, representing the intersection of divine curiosity and human experience. Yet beyond them, the lessons of the Watchers ripple through history. Humans became aware of tools, of power, and of influence they had never possessed. Civilization advanced, but with advancement came complexity, challenges, and moral dilemmas. The Book of Enoch allows the listener to observe these developments with calm reflection, emphasizing that knowledge itself is neither good nor evil. It is the application, intention, and understanding that determine its impact. In a way, this story mirrors the inner life of every listener. We, too, are constantly learning, absorbing new ideas, and exploring possibilities that extend beyond our current understanding. The story of a Watcher serves as a gentle reminder that curiosity is natural and beautiful, but it must always be balanced with wisdom and reflection. Listening slowly, allowing each detail to unfold, we are invited to meditate on our own relationship with knowledge, power, and consequence. The narrative encourages patience and introspection, creating a space for reflection that is both soothing and intellectually engaging. The Book of Enoch also emphasizes a subtle tension between desire and restraint. The angels were drawn to the world below not out of malice, but out of fascination and longing. Likewise, humans are drawn to explore, to create, and to learn. Yet, without awareness of boundaries, actions, even those born from curiosity and good intentions, can produce unforeseen consequences. In the soft, immersive tone of this storytelling, we can imagine these lessons like a gentle tide, moving quietly across a landscape of imagination, carrying reflections on responsibility, humility, and the delicate balance between exploration and respect. Finally, the story of forbidden knowledge in the Book of Enoch prepares the listener for the deeper, more complex events to come. The gifts of the Watchers set the stage for the challenges faced by humans, the rise of the Nephilim, and the cosmic order observed by Enoch. Each narrative element builds upon the last, guiding the listener slowly through a landscape of wonder, moral reflection, and celestial insight. By embracing this gentle rhythm, we are able to absorb the story not only as a tale of ancient events, but as a meditation on curiosity, wisdom, and the responsibility that accompanies the pursuit of knowledge. As you listen, picture the angels quietly teaching humans, the giants walking silently through vast valleys, and knowledge unfolding like a soft, golden light across the earth. Each lesson, each gift, carries both opportunity and caution, and each ripple extends outward, touching generations. The story of the Watcher's teachings invites you to consider the beauty and the consequences of curiosity, to observe without judgment, and to allow your mind to drift gently into reflection. And as this understanding settles, we are ready to move forward, following Enoch on his journeys, witnessing both the divine and the earthly in a calm, immersive meditation that continues to unfold in the chapters ahead. Enoch, the human chosen to walk between worlds, is one of the most intriguing figures in the Book of Enoch. To imagine him, picture a man whose heart and mind are tuned not only to the rhythms of the earth but also to the mysteries of the heavens. He is a bridge between mortal and divine, a quiet observer who moves gently among angels, giants, and humans alike. Unlike the Watchers, who act on curiosity and desire, Enoch is deliberate, contemplative, and guided by purpose. His role is to witness, record, and reflect upon the unfolding events, offering insight into both the human and cosmic realms. As we follow his journey, we enter a space where imagination and meditation merge, a slow, immersive flow designed to calm the mind and open it to wonder. Enoch's ascent to the heavens is not sudden or violent. It is gradual, quiet, and full of reflection. Imagine him walking along soft, rolling hills at dusk, the sky above turning deep indigo as stars emerge one by one. He senses the presence of beings far beyond ordinary perception, yet there is no fear, only reverence and curiosity. Each step he takes is measured, each breath deliberate, as though he is attuning himself to the rhythm of the universe itself. The Book of Enoch emphasizes patience and observation. Enoch is not a warrior or a conqueror. He is a contemplative traveler, an intermediary who allows us to witness events that would otherwise remain unseen. Through him, we learn to move slowly, to absorb details, and to reflect on the delicate balance between human action and divine order. As he journeys, Enoch encounters the Watchers and observes the Nephilim, understanding the full consequences of their interactions. Unlike humans who are swept up in immediate events, Enoch perceives patterns, connections, and causes that extend across both time and space. In the gentle cadence of bedtime storytelling, we can picture him standing quietly on a distant hill, watching giants roam vast valleys, observing the effects of forbidden knowledge as it ripples through society, and noting the moral lessons embedded in each scene. His observations are patient and thoughtful, inviting the listener to do the same. We are encouraged not to rush, not to seek immediate conclusions, but to let understanding unfold gradually, like the slow bloom of a flower under morning light. Enoch's role also brings a profound sense of responsibility. He is entrusted with messages from the divine, visions of future events, and knowledge of cosmic order. The Book of Enoch describes his travels through multiple heavens, each layer revealing deeper truths and more complex structures of existence. In the storytelling style, we can imagine Enoch moving gently through celestial realms, floating corridors of light, gates guarded by silent angels, and landscapes that shimmer with wisdom and quiet authority. These journeys are not meant to overwhelm, but to invite contemplation. As listeners, we are transported alongside him, moving at a pace that encourages relaxation, reflection, and meditation on the vastness of creation. Throughout his journeys, Enoch also experiences visions of judgment and cosmic balance. He witnesses the ordering of the stars, the cycles of the heavens, and the patterns that govern both celestial and earthly life. Each vision is presented with calm deliberation, emphasizing the harmony of the universe rather than its chaos. The text encourages the mind to observe, to marvel at the intricate design of existence, and to understand that every action, whether divine or human, is part of a larger, interconnected system. Enoch's perspective teaches patience, humility, and reverence, allowing the listener to absorb profound lessons without tension, worry, or haste. One of the most striking aspects of Enoch's journeys is his ability to act as a mediator between worlds. He moves among humans, angels, and giants, interpreting, witnessing, and conveying messages across realms. Imagine him quietly conversing with celestial beings, noting their intentions and reflecting upon their choices. He also observes the impact of these choices on humans, contemplating the delicate balance between freedom, knowledge, and consequence. In the soft, immersive rhythm of bedtime storytelling, we can imagine these interactions as slow, gentle exchanges, each one revealing subtle truths and lessons without urgency or drama. Enoch teaches us that observation and understanding are as powerful as action, that quiet reflection can illuminate truths that might otherwise remain hidden. Enoch also serves as a conduit for divine knowledge, receiving visions of the future, cosmic structures, and moral principles that guide human behavior. His understanding is not static. It expands as he moves through the heavens, deepening with every encounter, observation, and revelation. The Book of Enoch emphasizes his humility and receptivity, qualities that make him a fitting intermediary between worlds. In the context of sleep and relaxation, we can imagine his wisdom unfolding slowly like ripples on a still lake, each insight flowing gently into the listener's mind, encouraging calm reflection and a sense of interconnectedness with the universe. Another gentle theme woven through Enoch's narrative is the idea of balance, between curiosity and restraint, between action and observation, between human ambition and divine order. He observes the consequences of the Watcher's teachings and the rise of the Nephilim, yet he does so without judgment or haste. His reflections encourage the listener to consider the ways in which knowledge, power, and action must be tempered with awareness and humility. In this way, Enoch's journeys are not merely a story of ancient events. They are a meditation on timeless human experiences, inviting listeners to connect with both historical narrative and inner contemplation simultaneously. As we follow Enoch, we can also appreciate the aesthetic and symbolic richness of the text. The descriptions of heavens, gates, angels, and visions are layered with meaning, blending imagery, philosophy, and spirituality. In bedtime storytelling, these images function like gentle lanterns lighting a path, revealing subtle truths without overwhelming the senses. We can picture each layer of heaven as a different shade of color, a unique rhythm of light and movement, each one imparting knowledge and calm simultaneously. The narrative's slow pace allows the listener to absorb these visions gradually, creating a soothing mental landscape that prepares the mind for rest while engaging imagination and reflection. Finally, Enoch's journey set the stage for the revelations that follow, the warnings and prophecies that will shape humanity's understanding of morality, consequence, and divine law. Through his perspective, we are invited to witness events that span realms, to reflect on their meaning, and to absorb their lessons in a calm, meditative state. By moving alongside Enoch, we practice patience, observation, and reverence, cultivating a sense of tranquility and wonder that extend beyond the story into our own experience. As you imagine Enoch walking quietly through celestial corridors, observing giants and misty valleys, and reflecting on the consequences of divine knowledge, allow your mind to drift gently alongside him. Picture the heavens unfolding above, layered and intricate, and feel the quiet rhythm of cosmic order as it resonates with your own breath and awareness. Enoch's journey is both a story and a meditation, an invitation to explore the mysteries of the universe at a pace that soothes the mind, nourishes curiosity, and prepares the heart for rest. And as we continue into the next section, we will see how the consequences of the Watcher's actions and the rise of the Nephilim begin to ripple through both heaven and earth, setting the stage for visions, warnings, and revelations that continue the gentle, immersive rhythm of this timeless narrative. The aftermath of the Watcher's descent and the rise of the Nephilim is a time of subtle turbulence and quiet imbalance. Though the giants were majestic and awe-inspiring, their existence brought disruption to human society, to the natural world, and to the delicate cosmic balance maintained by the divine. Imagine soft valleys filled with shadows taller than the tallest trees, forests echoing with the gentle yet powerful footfalls of these beings, and rivers winding around their colossal forms. In the serene rhythm of bedtime storytelling, these scenes are not frightening. Rather, they are awe-inspiring, inviting the mind to contemplate the vastness of creation, the ripple effects of knowledge, and the consequences of curiosity and tempered by restraint. The giant presence altered the dynamics of human life. Their immense size and strength introduced a new kind of interaction, one in which humans were no longer the undisputed masters of their environment. Villages and communities had to adjust to the presence of beings whose physical abilities were beyond comprehension. Crops, animals, and landscapes were affected subtly by their movement. And while the giants were not inherently malicious, their very existence challenged the natural rhythms of human society. The Book of Enoch presents this not as a story of horror, but as a meditation on the interconnections of all things, illustrating how even extraordinary events unfold within a framework of cosmic balance, gently inviting reflection rather than fear. The lessons of the Watcher's knowledge are reflected in the actions and influence of the Nephilim. With their guidance, humans had acquired skills in metalworking, astronomy, and mystical arts. Yet the giants, as living embodiments of the angels' transgressions, remind us that gifts without wisdom can have far-reaching consequences. In the soft cadence of this storytelling, one can imagine these gifts unfolding like threads in a tapestry, each strand vibrant, illuminating, yet capable of tangling if not handled with care. The narrative encourages contemplation, allowing the listener to observe how power, knowledge, and morality intertwine, slowly revealing the complex interplay of human and divine influence. As the giants roam the earth, Enoch continues his quiet observation. He witnesses their movements, their interactions with humans, and the ways in which their presence shapes the world. In this meditative role, he allows us to see the balance between awe and caution, curiosity and consequence. We can imagine him standing on distant hillsides, observing the ripple effect of knowledge and action, and reflecting on the subtle harmonies and disruptions in the natural world. The storytelling is deliberately paced, allowing the listener to absorb each moment without urgency, to feel the calm resonance of cosmic order even amid apparent upheaval. The Book of Enoch emphasizes that the Nephilim's influence extends beyond mere physical presence. Their existence is a reminder of the moral and spiritual consequences of human and angelic actions. Communities must navigate not only practical challenges, such as the impact on agricultural settlements, but also ethical dilemmas, considering how to act in a world shaped by beings of extraordinary power. In the calm rhythm of sleep-style narration, these considerations unfold slowly, like the turning of a river through a quiet valley, revealing lessons about responsibility, balance, and reflection. The narrative invites the mind to move gently through these ideas, understanding that the Nephilim story is a meditation on cause and effect as much as it is a tale of giants. The tension between human ambition and divine order becomes more apparent in this context. The Nephilim embody the consequences of crossing boundaries set by the natural and spiritual worlds. The Watcher's fascination led to their descent. Their teaching introduced new knowledge, and the resulting offspring now challenge the stability of existence. In the immersive cadence of storytelling, we can picture the subtle interactions of these layers, giants moving quietly across the earth, humans adjusting their lives, and Enoch observing it all with measured patience. This narrative style allows the listener to contemplate the delicate dance of curiosity, power, and restraint, appreciating the elegance of balance within both human and cosmic realms. At the same time, the Book of Enoch highlights the notion of divine justice. While the giant's presence disrupts the world, it also serves as a reflection of the consequences of transgression. Every action has its ripple effect. Every choice carries responsibility. The text invites reflection rather than alarm, presenting cosmic justice as an integral part of the universe's rhythm. We can imagine the giants as gentle reminders of cause and effect, moving through the earth with a quiet presence that embodies lessons without aggression. Their story is one of awareness, teaching through existence itself, and encouraging the listener to reflect on the patterns of action, consequence, and balance in their own life. Enoch's role in this section grows more profound. He not only observes but begins to interpret, offering insight into the unfolding events. Through his eyes, we perceive the interconnectedness of all things, the divine intentions, human choices, and the giant presence, all part of a larger design. This perspective invites meditation, allowing the mind to wander through the narrative with calm curiosity. As a listener, we are encouraged to consider the relationships between knowledge, desire, and consequence, understanding that even extraordinary beings operate within the boundaries of cosmic order. The storytelling pace supports this reflection, providing gentle pauses for thought, quiet imagery for imagination, and a rhythm that soothes while engaging the intellect. The Nephilim also illuminate the boundaries of mortality and divinity. As hybrid beings, they are neither fully human nor fully angelic. Their existence challenges conventional understanding, illustrating the subtle and intricate ways in which the realms intersect. In the immersive, sleep-focused style, we can picture them moving slowly through misty landscapes, each step carrying weight and symbolism, each gesture reflecting the delicate balance between strength and vulnerability, curiosity and restraint. Their presence is both instructional and meditative, guiding the listener to consider broader themes of ethics, consequence, and interconnectedness. Finally, the ripple effects of the Nephilim's presence extend beyond immediate events. Their story foreshadows later visions, prophesies, and judgments that Enoch will witness. By observing these beings, we begin to understand the layers of moral and cosmic consequences that the Book of Enoch explores in depth. Each detail is presented with a slow, deliberate rhythm, allowing the listener to absorb the lessons gradually, integrating reflection, imagination, and calmness. The narrative does not rush. Instead, it unfolds gently, emphasizing observation, understanding, and quiet meditation, perfectly aligned with the immersive, sleep-inducing style of storytelling that carries us through the ancient world. As you imagine the giants roaming quietly through forests and valleys, observe the soft but profound impact they have on the world. Picture Enoch standing at a distance, recording, reflecting, and interpreting these events with patience and reverence. The Nephilim are neither threatening nor chaotic. They are majestic and contemplative, embodying the consequences of knowledge and the delicate interplay between human and divine. In this calm, immersive meditation, their story encourages reflection, slow observation, and quiet wonder, preparing the mind to follow Enoch deeper into the mysteries and visions that await in the chapters ahead. As the story of the Nephilim and the Watchers unfolds, it becomes clear that the consequences of forbidden knowledge and celestial transgression reach far beyond their immediate effects on the earth. Humanity, once guided only by its own limited experience, is now navigating a world imbued with new skills, insights, and, subtly, new dangers. The giant's presence is felt not only physically but also symbolically, reminding humans of the complex relationships between power, knowledge, and morality. In the soft, immersive cadence of this storytelling, we can picture communities adjusting to these changes, quietly learning to live alongside forces both extraordinary and instructive, reflecting the subtle rhythm of cosmic balance. The knowledge that humans acquired from the Watchers is now intertwined with daily life, shaping the very fabric of society. Metalworking becomes a tool for survival and advancement, allowing humans to construct shelters, craft tools, and shape objects of beauty and function. At the same time, knowledge of astronomy allows for the marking of seasons and prediction of celestial cycles, deepening human understanding of the world and its rhythms. In the calm flow of bedtime storytelling, we can imagine these developments unfolding gently, like a river widening to embrace its surroundings, each ripple reflecting both opportunity and consequence. This slow and deliberate narrative allows the listener to absorb the magnitude of human growth alongside the cosmic implications of the angel's influence. The Book of Enoch emphasizes that the moral consequences of the Watcher's teachings are not immediate or overt. Instead, they unfold gradually, like the rising of the sun over a quiet landscape. Humans, blessed with new skills and knowledge, begin to exercise choice in ways they had never experienced before. These choices, in turn, carry unforeseen consequences, shaping the course of history and morality. In this reflective, meditative storytelling, the listener can appreciate the gentle unfolding of cause and effect, observing the subtle interplay between curiosity, power, and responsibility. Each discovery and innovation becomes a small step on a much larger journey, a journey in which understanding and restraint must be cultivated with patience. The giants, the Nephilim, remain a living reminder of the delicate balance between curiosity and consequence. Their extraordinary presence influences both the environment and human behavior, illustrating the tangible effects of transgression. Yet, they also inspire reflection, awe, and even a deeper understanding of the cosmic order. In the soothing rhythm of this narration, one can imagine valleys echoing with the quiet steps of these colossal beings, forests adjusting to their movements, and humans observing them with a mixture of respect and contemplation. The Nephilim, in this way, function as a lens through which listeners can examine their own interactions with knowledge, power, and responsibility. Enoch's role becomes increasingly significant as the narrative continues. His journeys between the earthly and celestial realms allow him to witness not only the consequences of the Watcher's actions, but also the divine measures intended to restore balance. He observes the heavens and the earth, perceiving connections invisible to ordinary humans. In bedtime storytelling, we can picture Enoch pausing in quiet contemplation atop a hill, looking out over a world shaped by both mortal and divine actions. His observations invite the listener to slow down, reflect, and consider the delicate balance that sustains life, morality, and the cosmos itself. One of the remarkable aspects of this section is the way the Book of Enoch blends narrative with reflection. The giants and the consequences of the Watcher's knowledge are not presented as simple plot points. They are intertwined with philosophical and moral considerations. Humans learn to navigate a world enriched yet complicated by knowledge that is both a blessing and a challenge. The storytelling emphasizes subtlety, patience, and observation, allowing the mind to drift gently through layers of meaning. It is a meditation on how actions ripple across time, influencing societies, shaping morality, and touching even the celestial realms. The Book of Enoch also introduces a notion of divine foresight in this context. While humans and the Nephilim navigate immediate consequences, the divine perspective encompasses a long arc of history. Every teaching, every action, and every outcome is observed with awareness of its place in the grand design. In the calm, immersive rhythm of this narration, we can imagine the universe itself as a vast, interconnected web, each thread vibrating in subtle harmony. Enoch serves as our intermediary, guiding us through this intricate tapestry, revealing insights without imposing urgency, and encouraging reflective engagement with the story. At the same time, this section of the book reminds us that human agency remains central. While the Watchers and the Nephilim introduce new knowledge and possibilities, humans are responsible for their own choices. How they apply these gifts, how they interpret and act upon them, shapes the trajectory of civilization. In the soothing cadence of bedtime storytelling, these lessons are conveyed gently, encouraging reflection rather than anxiety. Listeners can imagine themselves as part of a continuum, considering the impact of knowledge and action over time, in both subtle and profound ways. The narrative also underscores the slow emergence of ethical and moral consciousness. The introduction of forbidden knowledge compels humans to confront questions of right and wrong, responsibility, and the consequences of overreaching. These lessons are not imposed but discovered gradually through observation, reflection, and experience. The gentle pacing allows the listener to internalize these ideas without tension, experiencing the unfolding story as a calm meditation on growth, understanding, and wisdom. Enoch's perspective brings coherence to the complex interplay of beings, actions, and consequences. He observes not only the immediate effects of the Watcher's teachings and the Nephilim's presence, but also the subtle, long-term ramifications that ripple through human and cosmic history. In the immersive, sleep-inducing storytelling style, we can picture him moving silently through forests, valleys, and settlements, noting changes, contemplating consequences, and recording insights of posterity. Each observation is an invitation to the listener to pause, breathe, and reflect on the interconnectedness of all things, human and divine. Finally, this section gently prepares the listener for the unfolding of deeper visions, warnings, and prophecies that will shape the rest of the Book of Enoch. The consequences of the Watcher's actions, the rise of the Nephilim, and humanity's navigation and newfound knowledge create a foundation for the moral and cosmic lessons to come. The narrative encourages a slow, deliberate absorption of these events, allowing the listener to engage with both imagination and reflection. The rhythm is calm, immersive, and meditative, carrying the audience gently into the next phase of the story while reinforcing the central themes of curiosity, consequence, and cosmic balance. As you imagine the giants moving through valleys, humans learning new skills, and Enoch observing it all with patient awareness, allow the mind to drift slowly through these layers of understanding. Picture knowledge unfolding like the soft light of dawn across quiet hills, each insight carrying both promise and caution. Feel the quiet resonance of cause and effect and the subtle beauty of interconnectedness between human, divine, and cosmic realms. This section of the Book of Enoch invites gentle reflection, a calm meditation on the consequences of curiosity and action, and a sense of wonder at the intricate harmony that underlies the story of heaven, earth, and the spaces in between. As the narrative of the Book of Enoch continues, humanity begins to grapple with the consequences of the Watcher's teachings and the presence of the Nephilim. The world is subtly changed, though life continues with quiet persistence, as if trying to adjust to the delicate imbalance introduced by celestial influence. Humans now possess knowledge that is both illuminating and dangerous, gifts that allow for advancement but also carry moral and practical challenges. In the gentle cadence of bedtime storytelling, we can imagine villages and settlements nestled among forests and hills, communities quietly experimenting with new tools and skills, each day unfolding slowly, reflecting both wonder and contemplation. The giants, silent and immense, move across landscapes that were once familiar, creating ripples in the human experience without overt disruption. Their presence is like a soft, constant reminder of the consequences of curiosity and transgression. Humans observe, reflect, and adapt, learning to coexist with these beings while navigating the new knowledge that has been introduced into their lives. The narrative encourages the listener to picture these interactions not as dramatic or frightening, but as contemplative moments in which humans slowly learn lessons about responsibility, restraint, and the careful application of power. Each detail unfolds like a soft brushstroke on a vast canvas, inviting meditation and gentle reflection. Enoch continues his role as observer, chronicler, and mediator between realms. His journeys are both physical and spiritual, taking him through forests, mountains, and valleys on earth, and into layers of heaven where celestial beings move in rhythms beyond ordinary perception. In the calming tone of sleep-style storytelling, we can imagine him pausing on hilltops, overlooking the earth as it shifts subtly under the influence of giants and knowledge. He observes the moral choices humans make, noting the ripple effect of actions taken in ignorance, curiosity, or ambition. Through him, the listener experiences a perspective that is both intimate and expansive, bridging the earthly and the divine with calm deliberation. One of the profound elements of this section is the gradual emergence of ethical awareness among humans. With new knowledge comes a necessity of discernment, the need to understand when action is appropriate and when restraint is wiser. Metalworking, astronomy, and mystical arts are no longer just tools. They are instruments of choice capable of creating harmony or disruption depending on how they are applied. In the soft, immersive flow of this narrative, listeners are invited to contemplate the delicate responsibility that accompanies knowledge, to consider how even small decisions can ripple through communities and across generations. The story emphasizes quiet reflection, allowing the mind to wander gently through lessons embedded in each action and consequence. The Nephilim, meanwhile, continue to serve as living symbols of boundary crossing, embodying both the potential and the challenges inherent in transgression. Their presence illustrates a tangible result of actions that defy natural and divine order. Yet in this calm, meditative storytelling, they are not monsters to be feared, but majestic, contemplative beings whose movements and choices convey subtle lessons. Valleys echo softly with their steps, forests shift to accommodate them, and humans observe from a distance, learning through observation as much as through direct experience. The narrative invites a reflective approach, allowing listeners to see how power, curiosity, and consequence are intertwined. Enoch's celestial journeys provide further insight into the unfolding balance of the world. In heaven, he observed the watchers being held accountable, not through violent judgment, but through measures that restore cosmic harmony. The Book of Enoch emphasizes subtlety in divine justice. Consequences unfold over time, in measured ways, reflecting the natural rhythm of the universe. In this gentle storytelling, we can imagine the heavens as vast and serene, luminous layers revealing the order underlying apparent chaos. Enoch's observations invite the listener to consider the universe as a vast, interconnected system, where every action, whether human or divine, contributes to the greater pattern. The narrative also highlights the interplay between knowledge and morality. Humans, now equipped with skills and insights that were once the sole domain of angels, must navigate the moral terrain of their world with care. Choices that might seem trivial in the moment, how to use a newly learned technique, how to engage with a giant, how to interpret celestial signs, carry long-term implications. The story unfolds slowly, like sunlight spreading across quiet hills, encouraging the listener to reflect on cause and effect in their own life and on the responsibility that comes with understanding. The calm, immersive narration supports this reflection, making the lessons of the Book of Enoch both engaging and soothing. Enoch also witnesses the gradual establishment of societal norms and ethical frameworks. Communities begin to learn from the ripple effects of both human and giant actions, developing systems to channel the gifts of knowledge responsibly. The Book of Enoch does not present this as sudden or miraculous. Rather, it is a slow, deliberate process, observed with patience and detail. In this storytelling style, listeners can imagine humans experimenting, learning, and gradually understanding the subtleties of moral choice. The giants, the watchers, and the knowledge they imparted all serve as mirrors for human reflection, providing a framework for understanding responsibility, restraint, and the consequences of curiosity. A gentle theme woven throughout this section is the interconnectedness of all beings. The watchers, Nephilim, and humans are not isolated. Their actions influence one another in quiet, often imperceptible ways. Every choice, every lesson learned, every interaction contributes to the evolving balance of the world. In the immersive rhythm of sleep-style storytelling, listeners are encouraged to contemplate this interconnectedness, imagining themselves as part of a larger tapestry in which every thread has significance. The narrative emphasizes observation, reflection, and the quiet absorption of knowledge, reinforcing the meditative tone that defines this storytelling style. The section also explores the subtle interplay between divine oversight and human agency. While the Watcher's descent and the Nephilim's presence introduce powerful influences, humans retain the capacity for choice, learning, and adaptation. Enoch, as the intermediary, observes both realms, highlighting the importance of understanding the consequences of one's actions within a broader moral and cosmic framework. The gentle pacing of the story ensures that listeners can absorb these lessons without stress, allowing the mind to wander and reflect on the broader implications of knowledge, curiosity, and ethical behavior. Finally, the aftermath of the Watcher's actions and the rise of the Nephilim sets the stage for the visions, warnings, and prophesies that Enoch will receive later. These early observations are foundational, establishing a sense of order, consequence, and reflection that permeates the text. In the calm, immersive cadence of this storytelling, Listeners are encouraged to internalize these lessons slowly, considering the ripple effects of knowledge, the presence of extraordinary beings, and the delicate balance between action and restraint. The narrative is both soothing and instructive, providing gentle guidance to the mind while inspiring contemplation. As you imagine the Nephilim moving through valleys, humans experimenting with new skills, and Enoch observing both earthly and celestial realms, allow yourself to absorb the rhythm of the story. Picture the quiet interactions between beings, the soft consequences of curiosity, and the gradual unfolding of understanding. The narrative encourages gentle reflection, patience, and awareness of the interconnectedness of all actions and beings. Section 11 serves as a bridge, guiding the listener deeper into the unfolding mysteries of the Book of Enoch, preparing the mind to journey alongside Enoch as he receives visions, interprets divine messages, and contemplates a balance of heaven, earth, and all that lies between. Enoch's journey into the deeper mysteries of the heavens brings him to visions of the angels' continued influence on the world below. In the quiet cadence of bedtime-style storytelling, we can imagine him ascending through layers of luminous skies, each one revealing intricate designs, radiant beings, and subtle harmonies that mirror the balance of the cosmos. These layers are not overwhelming or chaotic. They unfold slowly, like the gentle unfurling of a flower under soft sunlight. Through Enoch's eyes, we observe the consequences of the Watcher's teachings, the presence of the Nephilim, and the subtle ways in which human society adapts, absorbs, and is transformed by these extraordinary influences. The narrative encourages reflection, inviting the listener to drift gently through the celestial landscape with calm curiosity. As Enoch ascends, he witnesses the organization of celestial realms, each layer structured with deliberate care, inhabited by angels whose roles are precise and purposeful. There are those who watch over humanity, guiding, protecting, and correcting, and those who observe the ripple effects of transgression and choice. The Book of Enoch presents these beings in serene, meditative terms, emphasizing harmony, order, and subtle moral influence rather than judgment or fear. In imagining these celestial layers, listeners are invited to picture corridors of light, gates adorned with patterns that shimmer softly, and angelic presences moving with quiet grace. Each observation is a lesson in balance, a reminder that even the smallest choices in life echo through the larger cosmos. The visions Enoch receives are not static. They move like living tapestries, illustrating the consequences of knowledge, desire, and transgression. The Nephilim, as product of the Watcher's descent, remain a central focus. Their influence on human life continues, shaping not only practical aspects of society but also moral and spiritual consciousness. In the gentle rhythm of sleep-style narration, we can imagine them walking across wide valleys, their presence altering landscapes, communities, and the flow of rivers with subtle power. These moments are contemplative rather than alarming, offering the listener a meditation on cause and effect, on the relationship between extraordinary beings and ordinary life, and on the ways in which actions ripple quietly through time. Enoch also observes the moral evolution of humanity. As humans continue to interact with knowledge imparted by the Watchers, they face choices that require discernment, restraint, and reflection. The Book of Enoch emphasizes that wisdom is cultivated gradually through observation, experience, and contemplation. In our bedtime storytelling framework, we can picture humans experimenting with tools and techniques, learning the consequences of their decisions with careful attention, and slowly establishing practices and customs that honor both the gifts they have received and the boundaries of ethical behavior. The story becomes a gentle meditation on the growth of human understanding in tandem with the ongoing influence of extraordinary forces. One of the most striking aspects of Section 12 is the subtle interplay between divine observation and human agency. While the Watchers and Nephilim introduce extraordinary knowledge and presence, humans retain the capacity to make choices, learn lessons, and adapt their behavior. Enoch's role as intermediary provides perspective on the delicate balance between influence and responsibility. In the calm, immersive storytelling style, listeners can picture him moving quietly between worlds, noting patterns, understanding the moral significance of actions, and reflecting on the ways in which humans navigate their evolving circumstances. This perspective fosters reflection and inner calm, encouraging the audience to absorb lessons gently and meditatively. The narrative emphasizes the delicate consequences of curiosity and ambition. The gifts of knowledge, while inspiring, require careful application. Human society begins to recognize that the use of new skills and mystical arts carries potential for both creation and disruption. Metalworking, divination, and celestial observation offer possibilities for prosperity, understanding, and harmony, but without careful consideration, they also risk imbalance and error. In the slow, reflective rhythm of sleep-oriented storytelling, the listener is invited to meditate on these lessons, imagining how each decision, action, or insight can shape not only immediate circumstances, but also future generations. The story becomes a gentle exploration of ethics, cause, and consequence. Enoch's visions further reveal the structured response of divine order to transgression. While the Watcher's descent and the rise of the Nephilim introduced imbalance, the cosmos itself moves toward equilibrium. Subtle forms of correction, observation, and guidance are enacted, ensuring that the universe maintains harmony over time. In the calm narrative flow, listeners can picture these interventions as soft currents of energy, flowing quietly through the heavens and earth, restoring balance without dramatic upheaval. Enoch's observations illustrate that even extraordinary events follow natural and moral laws, offering a soothing meditation on the order underlying existence. The Nephilim's presence continues to resonate symbolically. They are living reminders of the interplay between curiosity, knowledge, and consequence. In imagining them roaming forests, mountains, and plains, we can see them as teachers in disguise, showing humanity the importance of restraint, responsibility, and awareness. The giants' interactions with humans are subtle, instructional, and reflective, offering guidance without force. Through this lens, the listener can meditate on the ways in which external challenges and extraordinary circumstances in life serve as mirrors, reflecting lessons and encouraging growth. Enoch also witnesses visions of future consequences. While humans adapt to newfound knowledge, the moral arc of the world is slowly revealed. Choices made in curiosity, ambition, or ignorance ripple across generations, influencing societies, ethics, and human understanding. In the gentle cadence of sleep-focused storytelling, these visions unfold as slow, luminous tapestries, revealing patterns without urgency or anxiety. The listener is invited to observe the ripple effects of actions, contemplating how wisdom, restraint, and reflection can guide human life and society toward harmony with cosmic principles. The Book of Enoch further emphasizes the interconnectedness of all beings, humans, angels, and Nephilim. Each action, no matter how small, carries consequences that affect the broader system. In this immersive, meditative style, the listener can picture a web of subtle interactions, each thread connecting choices, knowledge, and morality across time and space. Enoch's presence as an observer allows the audience to reflect on these connections slowly, cultivating a sense of calm awareness and understanding of the ripple effects of life. Finally, Section 12 prepares the listener for the moral and prophetic lessons that will unfold later in the Book of Enoch. By observing the consequences of the Watcher's actions, the influence of the Nephilim, and humanity's evolving understanding, Enoch provides a foundation for insight into the broader patterns of justice, cosmic balance, and ethical responsibility. In the soothing rhythm of bedtime storytelling, the audience is gently guided to absorb these lessons at a reflective pace, allowing imagination, understanding, and calm contemplation to merge seamlessly. As you imagine Enoch moving through luminous layers of the heavens, observing the gentle influence of the Nephilim, and witnessing humanity's careful adaptation to newfound knowledge, allow your mind to rest in the calm rhythm of the story. Picture the subtle currents of cosmic order, the quiet unfolding of consequence, and the serene movement of extraordinary beings across the world. Section 12 invites gentle reflection on knowledge, morality, and the intricate web of interactions that shape life, creating a space for relaxation, imagination, and quiet meditation in the immersive journey of the Book of Enoch. As Enoch continues his journey through celestial realms, he begins to receive visions that are at once intricate, illuminating, and deeply reflective. These visions reveal not only the unfolding consequences of the Watcher's actions in the presence of the Nephilim, but also the broader structure of cosmic order and divine justice. In the slow, meditative rhythm of bedtime storytelling, we can imagine him moving through luminous corridors of heaven, each layer more radiant than the last, each one revealing patterns and harmonies that resonate with the quiet flow of the universe. Enoch's perspective is unique. He is both observer and chronicler, gently guiding us through a world where knowledge, morality, and consequence are intertwined in subtle and instructive ways. One of the first revelations Enoch receives in these visions is a clearer understanding of the moral consequences of transgression. The Watchers, who descended out of curiosity and fascination, introduced knowledge and power that humanity was not fully prepared to handle. Their teachings brought both advancement and disruption, and their offspring, the Nephilim, became living embodiments of imbalance. In the calm cadence of this storytelling, we can picture these events as gentle waves across a still lake. The ripples are subtle but profound, touching everything in their path. The narrative encourages quiet reflection, allowing the listener to absorb the lessons without urgency or tension, contemplating how curiosity and ambition can bring both gifts and challenges. Enoch's visions also illustrate the layered nature of divine oversight. He observes that the cosmos is meticulously ordered, with angels and celestial beings fulfilling distinct roles to maintain balance and harmony. Some are tasked with guiding humanity, others with monitoring the consequences of transgression, and still others with preparing the way for future justice and judgment. In this sleep-oriented narration, listeners are invited to imagine the heavens as a complex, serene network of light, movement, and purpose. Each being's actions contribute to a larger design, showing that even in the presence of extraordinary events, a subtle order underlies the unfolding of history. The Nephilim, whose presence continues to influence human society, are also a focal point in Enoch's visions. Their enormous size, strength, and intelligence symbolize the consequences of boundary crossing, of curiosity exercised without restraint. Yet in the calm, reflective rhythm of the storytelling, they are not presented as frightening or violent, but as contemplative figures whose existence encourages reflection on the responsibilities that accompany power and knowledge. We can imagine them moving slowly across mountains and forests, interacting with humans in ways that are instructive rather than harmful, each movement a lesson in cause and effect, a meditation on balance, and a mirror for human contemplation. Enoch's observations extend to the human response to these extraordinary influences. Communities begin to adapt to the knowledge and skills introduced by the Watchers, experimenting with tools, celestial observation, and mystical practices. With this experimentation comes a slow emergence of ethical awareness and social responsibility. Humans begin to recognize that knowledge, while empowering, must be tempered with judgment and humility. In the immersive, sleep-friendly narrative style, listeners can picture these developments as gentle, flowing progressions, villagers experimenting with tools in quiet workshops, elders reflecting on the moral implications of newfound knowledge, and children learning lessons in balance and restraint. The story unfolds like a slow, meandering river, allowing reflection without urgency. Another important aspect of Section 13 is the emphasis on foresight and anticipation. Enoch is giving glimpses of future events, revealing patterns and consequences that stretch across generations. He observes the ways in which knowledge, ambition, and moral choices influence not only the present but also the long arc of human history. In the calm, meditative rhythm of bedtime storytelling, these glimpses can be imagined as soft, luminous visions, unfolding slowly before the mind's eye, allowing the listener to consider the interconnectivity of actions, decisions, and cosmic patterns. These reflections cultivate a sense of awareness, patience, and gentle mindfulness, encouraging contemplation on the ripple effects of every choice. The Book of Enoch emphasizes that divine guidance is subtle, patient, and restorative. While the Watcher's descent and the Nephilim's existence introduce disruption, the cosmos moves toward equilibrium. Enoch witnesses this process, observing the careful orchestration of celestial forces, the restoration of balance, and the preparation for eventual judgment. In this immersive storytelling style, listeners can imagine these forces as quiet currents of energy flowing through the heavens and earth, harmonizing events and influences over time. The narrative's slow, reflective pace allows the audience to absorb these ideas gently, fostering calm reflection and meditation on the nature of justice and consequence. Enoch's visions also highlight the importance of observation and understanding as tools for wisdom. Unlike the Watchers, whose curiosity led to transgression, Enoch's purpose is deliberate reflection and careful recording. In imagining his role, we can picture him standing atop hills or within luminous corridors of heaven, noting the interactions of humans, giants, and celestial beings with patient attention. The Book of Enoch emphasizes that wisdom arises not merely from knowledge but from mindful observation, reflection, and integration of experience. The narrative encourages listeners to adopt a similar posture of calm attentiveness, absorbing lessons without stress or haste. The Nephilim's presence, while extraordinary, also illustrates the delicate consequences of imbalance. Their actions and influence ripple through human communities in ways that are instructive rather than catastrophic. In the soft, immersive cadence of storytelling, we can picture these effects as gentle waves across human life, shifts in social structures, subtle ethical dilemmas, and reflections on the proper use of power. The narrative encourages slow consideration, allowing the mind to engage with complex ideas about morality, responsibility, and consequence while maintaining a soothing, meditative tone. Section 13 also explores a layered relationship between human agency and divine guidance. Humans, though influenced by extraordinary beings and knowledge, retain the capacity for choice, growth, and ethical development. Enoch's role as observer underscores the importance of reflection and discernment, showing that individuals and communities can navigate challenges through wisdom and measured action. In the immersive rhythm of sleep storytelling, listeners can imagine this process as a calm, unfolding journey where lessons are integrated gradually, consequences are understood subtly, and moral awareness deepens gently over time. Finally, Enoch's visions in this section prepare the listener for the prophetic and moral revelations that will follow. By observing the interplay of humans, watchers, and Nephilim, he gains insight into the broader patterns of justice, cosmic order, and the consequences of transgression. In the slow, reflective cadence of bedtime-style narration, the audience is encouraged to internalize these lessons at a gentle pace, cultivating a sense of calm, contemplation, and wonder. The story emphasizes the quiet beauty of observation, the meditative reflection on cause and effect, and the intricate harmony of the universe, even in the presence of extraordinary disruption. As you picture Enoch standing amid luminous heavenly layers, watching giants move through quiet valleys, and observing humanity's tentative steps toward moral awareness, allow your mind to rest in the calm rhythm of the story. Visualize the soft interplay of cause and effect, the gentle unfolding of cosmic patterns, and the serene balance that underlies both extraordinary events and everyday life. Section 13 invites you to drift slowly through the story, absorbing the lessons of curiosity, consequence, and reflection while cultivating a meditative sense of peace and awareness. Enoch's journey now takes him deeper into the layers of heaven, where the divine order reveals itself in intricate and harmonious patterns. As he ascends, each layer offers a new perspective on the balance between the celestial and the earthly, between knowledge and responsibility, between human action and divine guidance. In the gentle cadence of bedtime storytelling, we can picture him moving along corridors of soft, shimmering light, where angels of various ranks go about their quiet duties. The air is filled with subtle luminescence, the soft hum of orderly movement, and a sense of calm awareness that pervades every corner of existence. Here, the Book of Enoch presents a meditation on cosmic order, inviting the listener to experience not just events, but the serenity of understanding the universe's delicate harmonies. As Enoch observes, he is given insight into the mechanisms of divine justice. These are not dramatic, overwhelming, or harsh. Rather, they are subtle, precise, and restorative. The actions of the Watchers, the emergence of the Nephilim, and the choices of humanity are all seen within the broader tapestry of cosmic balance. In this calm, immersive storytelling style, listeners can imagine the consequences of each action like ripples on a serene pond, spreading outward, touching every aspect of creation gently but inevitably. Enoch's vision reminds us that justice and order in the universe are maintained not through abrupt force, but through careful, deliberate harmonization of every element, from the smallest human choice to the actions of celestial beings. The Nephilim, as the offspring of the Watchers, continue to serve as living symbols of the consequences of curiosity without restraint. Their enormous forms move across the earth with quiet authority, leaving impressions on both the natural world and human society. In this reflective storytelling, they are neither frightening nor destructive. They are contemplative reminders that knowledge carries responsibility. Villages and forests adjust around their presence. Animals and rivers respond subtly, and humans observe and learn from these interactions. The narrative invites the listener to meditate on cause and effect, to understand that every action, even those taken by extraordinary beings, resonates throughout the fabric of existence. Enoch's journey also emphasizes the importance of observation and reflection as tools for wisdom. Unlike the Watchers, whose curiosity led to imbalance, Enoch approaches the world with patience, humility, and deliberate attention. He records, interprets, and contemplates the consequences of both human and celestial actions. In the gentle rhythm of sleep-friendly storytelling, We can picture him pausing atop hills, within valleys, or amid radiant heavenly corridors, noting subtle interactions and reflecting on the larger patterns that govern life. His perspective encourages a listener to cultivate quiet mindfulness, to observe without haste, and to appreciate the unfolding of events in their proper context. The visions extend to the influence of knowledge on human morality. The teachings introduced by the Watchers continue to impact human communities, encouraging both innovation and reflection. Metalworking, celestial observation, and mystical practices provide tools for development, yet they require careful application. Humans begin to recognize the responsibility that accompanies understanding, slowly forming ethical frameworks and social customs that honor both the gifts and the boundaries of morality. In the calming cadence of bedtime storytelling, listeners are invited to imagine these developments as a slow, thoughtful unfolding, where communities learn gently and deliberately from both direct experience and subtle observation. Enoch also witnesses the mechanisms of divine foresight. The angels orchestrate cosmic balance with a patient, deliberate approach, ensuring that actions and consequences maintain harmony across time and space. In the immersive storytelling rhythm, these interventions can be imagined as soft currents of energy flowing quietly through both the heavens and the earth, nudging events toward equilibrium. Enoch's observations reveal that even extraordinary disruptions, like the Watcher's descent and the Nephilim's presence, are integrated into a larger, coherent design. The narrative encourages contemplation, helping listeners understand that order, balance, and justice can exist quietly, subtly, and with profound effectiveness. A central theme of this section is the interconnectedness of all beings. Humans, giants, and angels are part of a web in which every action, decision, and ripple of knowledge matters. Enoch's vision allows the audience to appreciate the elegance of this interconnectedness, seeing how even subtle choices echo across time and space. In the slow, meditative flow of storytelling, listeners can picture this web as a network of softly glowing threads, each connecting beings, actions, and consequences in a harmonious pattern. The gentle visualization fosters both relaxation and reflective thought, reinforcing the overarching meditation on balance and harmony. The Book of Enoch emphasizes the long-term consequences of choices. The Watcher's teachings and the presence of the Nephilim influence not only immediate events, but also the moral and ethical evolution of humanity. Communities adapt slowly, experimenting with knowledge, skills, and practices while developing discernment and responsibility. In the calm rhythm of sleep-oriented storytelling, listeners can imagine these processes unfolding gradually, like sunlight spreading across quiet hills, illuminating both the present and the potential future. The narrative encourages patience, careful reflection, and a contemplative approach to understanding life's intricate patterns. Enoch's celestial journey provides insight into divine oversight and guidance. The angels' work is both subtle and pervasive, ensuring that balance and moral order maintained without overwhelming the natural flow of events. In the immersive storytelling style, listeners can picture these angels moving with quiet grace through heavenly layers, gently influencing events on earth, and observing the ripple effect of both human and Nephilim actions. Each movement, each intervention, is precise, deliberate, and restorative, reflecting the soft, measured rhythm of the cosmos itself. The narrative encourages meditation on the calm efficiency of divine order and the beauty of subtle influence. The Nephilim continue to offer lessons in balance and responsibility. Their extraordinary presence is a constant reminder that curiosity and power, when intempered, produce consequences that extend beyond immediate perception. Yet in this storytelling style, they are contemplative rather than threatening. We can imagine them moving slowly across forests, rivers, and hills, their actions leaving impressions that humans gradually learn from. The narrative emphasizes a reflective, instructive role of the giants, highlighting that extraordinary beings, like extraordinary knowledge, can guide us toward understanding if observed with patience and awareness. Finally, Section 14 prepares the listener for the deeper prophetic and moral insights that will follow. Enoch's visions provide a foundation for understanding the intricate relationship between human agency, divine guidance, and cosmic justice. Through observing the subtle interactions of the Watchers, Nephilim, and humans, Enoch conveys the patterns of consequence, wisdom, and ethical responsibility that are central to the Book of Enoch. In the gentle, immersive rhythm of bedtime storytelling, listeners are encouraged to internalize these lessons slowly, allowing imagination, reflection, and calm awareness to guide their experience. The narrative emphasizes the beauty of patience, observation, and the meditative unfolding of cosmic balance. As you imagine Enoch moving through radiant layers of heaven, observing giants roaming tranquil landscapes, and witnessing humans gradually cultivating moral awareness, allow your mind to rest in the serene rhythm of the story. Visualize the delicate interplay of cause and effect, the gentle influence of divine guidance, and the quiet unfolding of order across the universe. Section 14 invites the listener to drift calmly through the narrative, absorbing the lessons of reflection, responsibility, and balance while cultivating a peaceful, meditative state in preparation for the revelations and prophecies that lie ahead in the Book of Enoch. As Enoch continues his celestial journey, he finds himself moving deeper into the realms of heaven, where the divine order and cosmic harmony become increasingly apparent. Each layer reveals new patterns of light, movement, and purpose, reflecting a universe that is both vast and intricately balanced. In the calm cadence of bedtime-style storytelling, we can imagine Enoch gliding along corridors of shimmering radiance, where angels carry out their duties with quiet precision, and the soft luminescence of the heavens creates an atmosphere of serene contemplation. The Book of Enoch presents these visions as meditative and instructive, encouraging the listener to observe the subtle interactions that sustain balance in both the celestial and earthly realms. Enoch's observations reveal the continuing consequences of the Watcher's descent and the presence of the Nephilim. While humanity has gained knowledge and skill previously unknown, these gifts come with responsibility and the necessity for discernment. The giants, as living embodiments of transgression and consequence, move across the earth with quiet authority, leaving traces of both wisdom and warning. In the gentle rhythm of sleep-focused narration, we can picture their immense forms walking through forests and valleys, their movements altering the land subtly, and humans observing with a mixture of awe, reflection, and careful consideration. Each action, whether by human, giant, or angel, creates ripples that extend far beyond the immediate moment, illustrating the intricate balance of cause and effect. The Book of Enoch emphasizes that human growth and moral development are gradual processes. Communities experiment with newfound knowledge, exploring metalworking, celestial observation, and mystical practices. As they learn, they encounter challenges and dilemmas that require ethical discernment. In the soft, immersive cadence of storytelling, listeners can imagine humans working quietly in villages, elders reflecting on the proper use of knowledge, and children learning lessons of responsibility and restraint. These scenes unfold gently, like the slow movement of a river through a quiet landscape, allowing the audience to contemplate the interplay between curiosity, wisdom, and moral awareness. Enoch's role as observer and chronicler becomes increasingly important in this section. His careful attention to both the heavenly and earthly realms allows him to see the interconnectedness of all beings and actions. Angels guide, monitor, and correct. Humans adapt, learn, and reflect. The Nephilim act as living symbols of the consequences of boundary crossing. In this calm, immersive narrative style, listeners can picture Enoch standing atop hills or floating within luminous layers of heaven, observing with patient awareness. His perspective encourages meditation, offering a gentle framework for understanding the subtle balance between knowledge, power, and ethical responsibility. The visions also highlight the importance of restraint. The gifts of the Watchers, while empowering, are double-edged. They enable human advancement but can lead to imbalance if misapplied. The Book of Enoch presents this not as a warning to fear knowledge, but as a reflection on the careful cultivation of wisdom. In sleep-style storytelling, listeners can imagine humans experimenting with tools, astronomy, and mystical arts, gradually learning to temper ambition with reflection. These scenes unfold with deliberate pacing, allowing contemplation of cause and effect, and fostering a quiet sense of mindfulness and calm. Enoch's journey further emphasizes the subtlety of divine oversight. The angels' interventions are precise, restorative, and unobtrusive. Even extraordinary events, like the Watcher's descent and the Nephilim's presence, are integrated into a larger cosmic order. In the soothing cadence of storytelling, these interventions can be pictured as gentle currents of light flowing through both heaven and earth, maintaining balance, encouraging growth, and preparing humanity for the lessons of moral and spiritual responsibility. The narrative invites the listener to reflect on the elegance and patience inherent in cosmic design. The Nephilim, though imposing and extraordinary, continue to serve as contemplative teachers. Their actions demonstrate the consequences of curiosity, transgression, and untempered power. In imagining their movements through forests, mountains, and rivers, we see lessons unfolding quietly, without overt drama. Humans learn to navigate these influences with care, observing, reflecting, and adjusting their behavior. The storytelling style emphasizes calm observation, meditative engagement, and the slow absorption of lessons, allowing the listener to consider the ripple effects of both human and extraordinary actions. Enoch also witnesses the unfolding moral development of humanity. As humans interact with new knowledge in the presence of Nephilim, they gradually recognize the importance of ethical discernment. Social norms, customs, and moral frameworks begin to emerge organically, shaped by experience and reflection. In an immersive rhythm of sleep-oriented narration, listeners can imagine communities experimenting with these frameworks, learning the consequences of both proper and improper application of knowledge, and gradually cultivating a sense of responsibility that resonates across generations. This process is gentle, deliberate, and meditative, encouraging quiet reflection on the nature of learning and growth. Another important theme in Section 15 is foresight and the long-term impact of actions. Enoch's visions reveal how choices made in the present ripple through time, influencing both human history and divine observation. The narrative presents these insights in a calm, contemplative manner, allowing listeners to visualize the unfolding consequences without tension or urgency. Each scene is a gentle lesson, illustrating that even small acts of curiosity, ambition, or restraint contribute to the larger balance of the cosmos. The storytelling invites reflection, fostering awareness and inner calm. The Book of Enoch also underscores the interconnectedness of all beings. Humans, giants, and angels exist in a complex web, where actions and consequences intersect in subtle and profound ways. In the meditative rhythm of storytelling, listeners can imagine this web as a network of softly glowing threads, each connecting choices, knowledge, and moral responsibility across time and space. Enoch's observations guide the audience through this intricate tapestry, encouraging mindfulness, reflection, and an appreciation of the quiet beauty of cosmic harmony. Finally, Section 15 gently prepares the listener for the deeper prophetic revelations and moral insights that Enoch will encounter in the coming sections. By observing the Nephilim, the Watchers, and humanity, Enoch gains profound understanding of the principles that govern morality, justice, and the balance between freedom and guidance. In the calming cadence of bedtime storytelling, listeners are invited to internalize these lessons slowly, allowing reflection, meditation, and quiet contemplation to take root. The narrative emphasizes patient observation, the meditative unfolding of cause and effect, and the serene beauty of cosmic balance. As you imagine Enoch moving through radiant layers of heaven, observing the Nephilim in quiet valleys, and watching humanity experiment with new knowledge and moral discernment, allow your mind to rest in the gentle rhythm of the story. Visualize the soft interplay of action and consequence, the careful application of divine guidance, and the slow, deliberate unfolding of wisdom across both human and celestial realms. Section 15 encourages quiet reflection, awareness of interconnectedness, and meditative absorption of lessons, preparing the listener for the deeper revelations and contemplative insights that await in the remaining chapters of the Book of Enoch. Enoch's journey now carries him into even deeper layers of heaven, where the interplay of divine order and cosmic balance becomes increasingly clear. Each realm he traverses unfolds like a slow, luminous tapestry, revealing patterns and structures that reflect the quiet precision of the universe. In the calm cadence of bedtime storytelling, we can imagine him moving along corridors of soft, radiant light, where angels go about their duties with serene attention, and the subtle hum of cosmic harmony fills the air. The Book of Enoch presents these visions as meditative and instructive, allowing the listener to drift gently through a universe in which every action, every choice, and every ripple of knowledge is its place within an overarching balance. As he moves through these celestial layers, Enoch observed the continued consequences of the Watcher's descent and the Nephilim's presence on earth. Humans, now equipped with extraordinary knowledge, are learning to navigate their abilities with care, experimentation, and reflection. Communities develop tools, observe celestial patterns, and explore mystical practices, gradually cultivating ethical frameworks to guide their use of knowledge. In the immersive, sleep-friendly storytelling style, we can picture these developments unfolding quietly in small villages, villagers experimenting with new skills, elders guiding them with patient wisdom, and children observing the interplay of cause and effect in their daily lives. Every action is subtle, deliberate, and interconnected with a larger pattern of existence. The Nephilim, as the offspring of the Watchers, remain a central focus in Enoch's visions. Their immense forms, moving gracefully across mountains, forests, and plains, serve as living symbols of the consequences of unchecked curiosity and ambition. Yet in the gentle rhythm of this narrative, they are not threatening. They are contemplative figures whose presence encourages reflection on responsibility, restraint, and the ethical use of knowledge. Humans observe these beings from a distance, absorbing lessons without fear, learning to integrate understanding and humility into their own actions. The storytelling emphasizes the quiet, meditative quality of these interactions, allowing the listener to consider the implications of power, influence, and choice. Enoch also witnesses the ongoing moral development of humanity. Communities begin to adapt, forming social structures and norms that balance ambition, curiosity, and ethical responsibility. Humans gradually learn to distinguish between constructive and potentially disruptive applications of knowledge, tempering their desires with reflection. In the calming cadence of sleep-style narration, listeners can imagine these moments unfolding slowly, like sunlight spreading across a serene landscape, highlighting the careful, measured steps of progress and the subtle beauty of human growth. The narrative fosters contemplation, inviting the audience to reflect on the ways in which knowledge and ethical awareness evolve hand in hand. Another striking element in Section 16 is the interplay between divine foresight and human agency. While the Watchers introduced extraordinary knowledge and the Nephilim embodied its consequences, humans retain the power to make choices, learn from experience, and adapt their behavior. Enoch's role as observer and chronicler allows him to trace these subtle interactions and understand the broader pattern of moral development. In the immersive, meditative storytelling rhythm, listeners can picture him pausing atop hills, within radiant heavenly corridors, or in quiet forests, noting how every decision, no matter how small, influences the broader tapestry of existence. This encourages reflective engagement and inner calm. The Book of Enoch also emphasizes the subtle currents of divine guidance. Angels orchestrate balance with quiet precision, restoring harmony and ensuring that the lessons of transgression, knowledge, and choice are integrated constructively into human experience. In sleep-friendly storytelling, these interventions can be imagined as gentle streams of light flowing through both the heavens and the earth, smoothing the edges of disruption, guiding development, and maintaining equilibrium. Enoch observes these processes with patient awareness, offering a model of reflection, discernment, and appreciation of the intricate patterns that govern life. The Nephilim continue to exemplify the consequences of imbalance, yet their presence is instructive rather than destructive. We can picture them moving through valleys and forests, interacting subtly with humans, and leaving traces of lessons that unfold gradually over time. The narrative emphasizes contemplation, illustrating that extraordinary knowledge or power must be coupled with responsibility, awareness, and restraint. In the meditative cadence of bedtime storytelling, listeners are encouraged to reflect on the ripple effects of every action and to consider the delicate interplay between curiosity, consequence, and ethical conduct. Enoch's visions also explore the long-term consequences of human choices. As communities experiment with the tools and knowledge introduced by the Watchers, patterns of behavior emerge, illustrating the gradual shaping of morality, social norms, and spiritual understanding. In the immersive rhythm of sleep storytelling, listeners can picture these patterns as gentle rivers winding through landscapes, carrying lessons, experiences, and wisdom across generations. The story encourages a reflective, patient approach, allowing the audience to internalize the subtle moral and cosmic implications of actions over time. The section emphasizes the interconnectedness of all beings. Humans, Nephilim, and angels exist within a vast web where actions, choices, and knowledge are entwined in subtle and profound ways. Enoch's observations illuminate this web, demonstrating how every event, no matter how minor, contributes to the unfolding of cosmic harmony. In the calming cadence of storytelling, listeners can imagine this web as softly glowing threads, each connecting beings, decisions, and consequences across time and space. The narrative fosters both relaxation and reflection, cultivating awareness of the quiet beauty inherent in interconnected existence. Another significant aspect of Section 16 is the emphasis on patience and gradual learning. Wisdom is not acquired in a single moment but unfolds over time through observation, reflection, and careful application of knowledge. Humans, guided by both experience and subtle divine influence, gradually cultivate discernment and ethical awareness. In sleep-style storytelling, this process can be pictured as the slow growth of a tree, its roots extending deep into the soil, its branches reaching towards sunlight, and each leaf representing a lesson learned or choice made. The narrative encourages the listener to meditate on the cumulative effects of learning, reflection, and responsible action. Finally, Section 16 prepares the listener for the more prophetic and instructive elements that Enoch will encounter in the following sections. By observing the Nephilim, the Watchers, and humanity's gradual development, Enoch gains insights into the broader principles of moral responsibility, divine order, and cosmic justice. In the gentle, immersive rhythm of bedtime storytelling, these observations are conveyed without urgency or tension, allowing the audience to absorb lessons slowly, reflect quietly, and cultivate a sense of calm awareness. The narrative emphasizes a harmony of cause and effect, the meditative unfolding of knowledge, and the serene beauty of cosmic balance. As you imagine Enoch moving through luminous layers of heaven, observing the Nephilim across tranquil landscapes, and witnessing humanity gradually cultivating moral awareness and responsibility, allow your mind to rest in the calm rhythm of the story. Visualize the subtle interplay of action, consequence, and divine guidance, the gentle unfolding of wisdom, and the interconnected web of all beings. Section 16 invites the listener to drift slowly through the narrative, absorbing lessons in reflection, patience, and balance while experiencing a peaceful, meditative state, fully immersed in the serene journey of the Book of Enoch. Enoch's journey progresses into even more subtle and profound layers of heaven, where the rhythms of the cosmos and the interplay between divine guidance and human agency become increasingly apparent. In this serene, immersive space, every motion of an angel, every ripple of light, and every faint whisper of energy feels purposeful and deliberate. The Book of Enoch presents these realms not as distant or inaccessible, but as meditative landscapes, inviting the listener to move slowly through them with attentive calm. We can imagine Enoch gliding along corridors of softly glowing radiance, observing the meticulous orchestration of celestial order, and reflecting on the ways in which the extraordinary influences both human life and the broader cosmic balance. As he watches, Enoch sees a continuing impact of the Watcher's teachings and the presence of the Nephilim. The knowledge imparted to humanity, metalworking, celestial observation, and mystical arts, has led to both advancement and subtle challenges. Communities experiment carefully, learning to harness these skills responsibly while navigating the moral implications. In the gentle cadence of sleep-style storytelling, listeners can picture these moments unfolding in quiet villages shaping metal with thoughtful hands, elders guiding reflection on ethical use, and children observing the natural consequences of every action. The narrative encourages quiet meditation on responsibility, choice, and the steady integration of knowledge into daily life. The Nephilim, with their immense presence and awareness, continue to serve as instructive symbols. Their interactions with the natural world and human society are measured and contemplative, offering lessons about restraint, curiosity, and the potential consequences of intemperate ambition. In imagining them moving through forests, across rivers, and along mountains, listeners are invited to view these giants as living mirrors, reflecting both the power of knowledge and the importance of ethical application. The storytelling style emphasizes calm observation, slow absorption of insight, and a meditative engagement with cause and effect, allowing listeners to internalize these lessons gently. Enoch's observations extend to humanity's gradual moral and spiritual evolution. People begin to internalize the lessons offered by their interactions with the Watcher's teachings and the presence of the Nephilim. Ethical awareness emerges slowly, supported by reflection, guidance, and the consequences of their actions. In the immersive rhythm of sleep-friendly narration, listeners can picture humans experimenting with new skills, carefully observing the results of each action, and sharing wisdom through quiet instruction and communal reflection. This slow, deliberate unfolding encourages contemplation and fosters a gentle sense of mindfulness. Another significant aspect of Section 17 is a subtle demonstration of divine foresight. The angels orchestrate events with patient precision, ensuring that humanity's choices, the Nephilim's presence, and the ripple effects of knowledge all contribute to the ongoing equilibrium of the cosmos. In the calm, meditative cadence of storytelling, these interventions can be visualized as soft streams of light flowing through the heavens and the earth, guiding and harmonizing actions without overwhelming the natural rhythm of life. Enoch's perspective shows a careful interweaving of free will, consequence, and cosmic order, illustrating the beauty of subtle divine orchestration. The narrative also emphasizes the interconnectedness of all beings. Every choice, whether human or celestial, carries significance, affecting both immediate circumstances and long-term outcomes. In the immersive, reflective storytelling style, listeners can picture a vast web of softly glowing threads connecting humans, Nephilim, angels, and the natural world. Enoch's observations highlight that each action, however small, contributes to the larger pattern of cosmic harmony. This perspective encourages quiet reflection, patience, and a meditative appreciation of the interconnectedness inherent in all aspects of existence. Enoch witnesses the subtle consequences of human choices in communities that are learning to integrate knowledge responsibly. Villages evolve slowly as people experiment with the skills and insights imparted by the watchers, while elders, teachers, and observers guide reflection and moral reasoning. In the soothing cadence of bedtime storytelling, we can imagine this as a gentle, flowing process akin to the slow meander of a river through a fertile valley. Each action, each lesson, each careful application of knowledge contributes to the gradual cultivation of ethical frameworks and social harmony. The Nephilim continue to illustrate the delicate balance of power and consequence. Their presence serves as a living example of how extraordinary beings, knowledge, and abilities can influence human life, requiring reflection, mindfulness, and discernment. In this calm, immersive narrative, we can picture them quietly moving across landscapes, interacting subtly with humans, and leaving traces of guidance and insight. Their movements remind listeners that power, curiosity, and knowledge are inseparable from responsibility, and that careful observation can lead to understanding without fear or haste. Section 17 also delves into the emergence of human foresight and planning. Through experience, observation, and reflection, humans begin to anticipate the potential consequences of their actions. This foresight allows them to make more deliberate, ethically informed decisions, integrating knowledge into everyday life in ways that support balance and stability. In sleep-focused storytelling, listeners can imagine these insights as soft beams of light illuminating pathways through forests, valleys, and settlements, guiding humans toward wisdom while reinforcing the calm, reflective tone of the narrative. Another theme explored is a harmonious coexistence of humans, Nephilim, and divine influence. Despite their extraordinary powers, the Nephilim do not dominate or terrorize. They coexist alongside humans, offering subtle lessons and shaping moral understanding. Humans, in turn, learn to respect these beings, their influence, and the knowledge they provide. In the immersive rhythm of bedtime storytelling, the narrative encourages listeners to picture this coexistence as a slow, unfolding dance in which every participant plays a role in maintaining balance, harmony, and reflection across both earthly and celestial realms. Enoch's observations also highlight the gradual refinement of ethical frameworks. As humans experiment and observe, patterns of morality, restraint, and responsibility emerge. Communities learn to value careful decision-making, respect for boundaries, and thoughtful application of knowledge. The storytelling emphasizes the slow, meditative nature of this process, allowing listeners to absorb lessons in a calming, reflective way. In this manner, the narrative gently conveys the principles of moral development while maintaining a peaceful, immersive atmosphere. Finally, Section 17 prepares the listener for the forthcoming prophetic visions and moral insights that will shape the latter parts of the Book of Enoch. Through the careful observation of the Nephilim, humans, and divine oversight, Enoch gains a profound understanding of the intricate balance between knowledge, responsibility, and cosmic order. In the calm, immersive cadence of bedtime-style narration, listeners are invited to internalize these lessons slowly, cultivating reflection, patience, and awareness. The narrative emphasizes the serene beauty of cosmic harmony, the quiet unfolding of wisdom, and the meditative rhythm of interconnected existence. As you imagine Enoch moving through radiant layers of heaven, observing the Nephilim in tranquil valleys, and witnessing humanity's gradual cultivation of moral awareness and foresight, allow your mind to settle into the gentle rhythm of the story. Visualize the subtle interplay of choice, consequence, and divine guidance, the slow unfolding of understanding, and the interconnected web of all beings. Section 17 encourages quiet contemplation, reflection on responsibility and wisdom, and a peaceful immersion in the serene journey through the Book of Enoch. Enoch's journey carries him into even deeper realms of heaven, where the rhythms of divine order and the subtle interplay of cause and effect become increasingly evident. Each layer he ascends is filled with soft radiance, shimmering corridors, and the quiet hum of angelic activity. In the gentle cadence of bedtime storytelling, we can picture him moving with calm awareness, observing the intricate balance of celestial order. The Book of Enoch presents these visions as meditative landscapes, inviting listeners to slow their breathing, soften their focus, and drift gently through a universe where every action, no matter how small, carries weight and significance. As he continues, Enoch observes the consequences of human engagement with the teachings of the Watchers. Knowledge is spread quietly across communities, bringing both innovation and subtle challenges. Humans experiment with metalworking, celestial observation, and mystical arts, gradually learning to balance ambition with ethical consideration. In the immersive, sleep-friendly narrative, listeners can imagine villagers working in the soft glow of morning light, elders offering guidance with gentle words, and children observing carefully, learning lessons through reflection and example. The story emphasizes the slow, deliberate unfolding of understanding, showing that wisdom arises from patience, careful observation, and thoughtful application of knowledge. The Nephilim remain central figures in Enoch's visions. These beings, immense in presence and awareness, embody both the power and the consequences of extraordinary knowledge. Yet in this calm, contemplative narrative, they are not portrayed as threatening. Instead, they move quietly through forests, mountains, and rivers, offering subtle lessons about restraint, curiosity, and ethical responsibility. Humans observe them from a respectful distance, absorbing insight through reflection rather than fear. The narrative encourages meditation on the ways in which power, knowledge, and responsibility are inseparably connected, inviting listeners to consider the ripple effects of every action, thought, and decision. Enoch's observations also focus on the evolution of human morality. Communities gradually cultivate frameworks for understanding right and wrong, learning from both the guidance of elders and the consequences of their own choices. Knowledge, while empowering, requires discernment. Each discovery carries a potential for both benefit and disruption. In the soothing rhythm of bedtime storytelling, we can imagine villagers carefully testing new tools, reflecting on outcomes, and teaching the next generation through example and gentle instruction. These lessons unfold like a slow river flowing through valleys, illuminating both the present and the distant future with soft, patient light. Another significant theme in Section 18 is divine foresight. Angels orchestrate events with quiet precision, ensuring that the influence of the Watchers, the presence of the Nephilim, and the unfolding of human actions contribute to the maintenance of cosmic balance. In the immersive, reflective storytelling rhythm, these interventions can be imagined as gentle streams of radiant energy flowing through both the heavens and the earth, harmonizing events and restoring equilibrium where necessary. Enoch's perspective reveals a delicate, deliberate nature of divine guidance, showing that even extraordinary disruptions are woven into a larger pattern of order and harmony. The Nephilim serve as living mirrors, reflecting both the potential of knowledge and the importance of restraint. Their immense forms, moving gracefully across landscapes, teach humans about the consequences of ambition without reflection. In this calming narrative, listeners can visualize these interactions as quiet, instructive experiences, where lessons are absorbed slowly and thoughtfully. The giant's presence is not a source of fear but an opportunity for contemplation, encouraging careful consideration of how extraordinary abilities or insight should be applied in harmony with ethical principles. Enoch witnesses a gradual development of foresight and moral reasoning in human communities. As knowledge spreads and experience accumulates, humans begin to anticipate consequences and make more deliberate, thoughtful choices. In the soothing cadence of sleep-oriented narration, this can be imagined as soft beams of morning light illuminating paths through forests, villages, and fields, guiding human understanding gently and patiently. Communities learn to balance curiosity, ambition, and ethical awareness, cultivating a sense of responsibility that resonates across generations and contributes to social harmony. The narrative emphasizes the interconnectedness of all beings. Humans, Nephilim, and angels exist within a vast network of cause and effect, where each choice, action, and ripple of knowledge influences the whole. In the immersive, reflective storytelling style, listeners can picture this web as softly glowing threads connecting beings, events, and consequences across time and space. Enoch's observations highlight the quiet beauty of these interconnections, encouraging meditation on the subtle, harmonious ways in which the universe functions, even amid extraordinary events and influences. Section 18 also explores the refinement of ethical frameworks over time. As humans interact with the knowledge and presence of extraordinary beings, they gradually develop discernment, patience, and restraint. Communities learn to apply insight carefully, balancing ambition with ethical responsibility. In the meditative rhythm of bedtime storytelling, these processes unfold slowly, like the gentle growth of trees in a quiet forest, each branch representing a lesson learned, a decision considered, and an understanding gained. The narrative fosters calm reflection on the slow, deliberate unfolding of wisdom and the quiet development of moral awareness. Enoch's observations further illustrate the harmony between divine guidance and human agency. The angels, while orchestrating cosmic balance, allow humans to make choices, learn from experience, and refine their understanding. The Nephilim serve as both mirrors and teachers, illustrating consequences and offering guidance without coercion. In the soothing cadence of storytelling, listeners can imagine a serene dance of influence, where every being, human, giant, or angel, moves in subtle interplay, each action contributing to the overall equilibrium of the cosmos. This meditation encourages reflection on responsibility, interconnectedness, and the importance of mindful action. Finally, Section 18 prepares the listener for prophetic insights and moral revelations that will appear in concluding sections of the Book of Enoch. Through careful observation of the Nephilim, humans, and divine influence, Enoch begins to perceive the principles that govern moral responsibility, ethical decision-making, and cosmic order. In the immersive, sleep-friendly rhythm of narration, listeners are invited to absorb these lessons gradually, cultivating calm reflection, gentle awareness, and a sense of serenity. The narrative emphasizes the quiet, meditative beauty of cosmic balance and the patient unfolding of wisdom across time. As you imagine Enoch gliding through radiant layers of heaven, observing the Nephilim in tranquil valleys, and watching humans gradually refine their ethical awareness and foresight, allow your mind to rest in the soft, rhythmic cadence of the story. Picture the gentle flow of cause and effect, the careful guidance of divine forces, and the serene harmony that links all beings in a vast cosmic web. Section 18 encourages meditative reflection, inner calm, and a deep sense of interconnectedness, allowing listeners to immerse themselves fully in the peaceful, contemplative journey of the Book of Enoch. Enoch's journey takes him to the outer layers of heaven, where the cosmic order is fully visible. Angels move quietly, maintaining balance, while humans and Nephilim continue their slow, reflective interactions. The Nephilim, immense yet gentle, serve as living mirrors, showing the consequences of curiosity and ambition. Humans learn from their presence, absorbing lessons in patience, restraint, and ethical responsibility. Villagers experiment carefully with knowledge from the watchers, metalworking, astronomy, and mystical practices, gradually integrating ethical reflection into daily life. Mistakes are absorbed as quiet lessons, shaping foresight and moral awareness. Enoch observes how free will, divine guidance, and consequence work together, forming a harmonious rhythm that links every action to the broader balance of the universe. The interconnectedness of all beings becomes evident. Each choice, each ripple of knowledge, contributes to the ongoing harmony of creation. Communities gradually refine moral insight, learning to anticipate consequences and act with discernment. The Nephilim coexist with humans, their influence subtle yet profound, encouraging reflection and understanding. In the serene space, Enoch perceives the overarching principles of cosmic balance, cause and effect, responsibility, and harmony. Listeners are invited to visualize glowing threads connecting actions, beings, and consequences, fostering quiet meditation. Section 19 emphasizes patient observation, the gradual cultivation of wisdom, and the gentle unfolding of human moral and spiritual growth, preparing the mind for the final reflections of the journey. Enoch reaches a final stage of his journey, where the full panorama of cosmic harmony is revealed. Angels move with quiet purpose, guiding the balance between humans, Nephilim, and creation itself. The Nephilim remain instructive figures, their presence illustrating the weight of knowledge, responsibility, and ethical awareness. Humans, learning from both experience and reflection, slowly integrate wisdom and foresight into daily life. Enoch observes a delicate interplay of free will and divine guidance. Every choice and action contributes to cosmic equilibrium, and the consequences ripple across time. Communities grow in moral awareness, understanding the importance of restraint, patience, and careful reflection. The Nephilim and humans coexist, their interactions offering subtle lessons in ethical conduct and responsibility. This final section emphasizes interconnectedness and harmony. All beings, actions, and knowledge form a network, softly glowing with meaning, linking past, present, and future. Wisdom is revealed as a patient, meditative process, unfolding slowly as humans observe, reflect, and integrate lessons into their lives. Enoch's journey teaches that knowledge and power are most profound when tempered with reflection, ethical consideration, and calm awareness. As the story closes, listeners are invited to rest in the soft rhythm of cosmic order. The Book of Enoch leaves a lasting impression, a universe in which curiosity, learning, and ethical responsibility coexist, and where every action contributes to quiet harmony. With that, Enoch's journey, the story of the Watchers and the Nephilim, and humanity's moral awakening conclude gently, leaving only calm, reflection, and the serene hum of cosmic balance.